This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square. You're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good evening, everybody, and welcome to Beach Talk Radio, the pre-show for the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce Town Council debate, which begins at, I think it's 6:45. 6:30 to 6:45 tonight. We're at the Beach Baptist Church, and joining us to talk a little bit about the politics and the pregame show is Karen Woodson. Karen is one candidate of the for the town council. There's 2 open seats, 4 candidates, and Karen is one of the 4.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you feeling tonight?
Well, we were just talking about that. It's, do you ever get used to this campaigning stuff? It's not it's all cracked up to be. You know?
What do you mean?
Well, it's a little gut wrenching. You get butterflies. I haven't had butterflies in my stomach for years.
All those things you do. You get up on stage at the Lovers Key Gala, and
It's
you're talking to all your friends there. There's like
So it's
300.
not- it's
there's
not
like
the-
300 people there that
I
night.
know.
It's
but
not
you-
the public speaking.
No,
then.
you're talking about your friends. You're talking with your friends. You're not giving your opinions at every turn. You're not being judged on all of your opinions.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a fun event. We're doing good things. We're raising money. We're doing all kinds of fun things, but it's
Mhm.
not putting you on the spot
well,
every time you turn around.
and you're vying for, the one of the 2 spots up there.
Right.
So there's no doubt that it's a competition of
It is
sorts.
definitely
so
a
it's not like,
competition. Yeah.
it's not like, give me some money,
Right.
and do some entertainment,
I'm pretty good at the give me some money.
You sure are.
Yeah, let's
You're
talk
leading the
about
money
that.
race. Yeah. And you were just saying you're having a good month in September, too.
Yeah. No, I got people really helping me out and a lot of good things happening. So I'm excited.
So what overall, how would you say the campaign is going?
I think it's going great. I've never done this before. So what do I have to judge from? It's the first time I've ever done it. I probably, if I could just be hired, it would be so much better and not have to go through all this campaigning. But I'm getting great feedback. I am now starting to get emails with questions that I'm responding to, and people calling me, giving me their insights. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Have you thought about this? So it's really, the word's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good.
Now, when you were thinking about it, and we had you on a couple of times before, not that it was like pulling teeth,
It was kind of pulling
but it
teeth.
was a little bit. What kind of not pushed you over the edge and to decide to run, but what kind of pushed you in the direction to make the decision that, all right, I'm doing this?
And I said all along that, when I got down to the beach, when we moved here, I wanted to get involved, but I wanted to get involved basically through the fun stuff and how I can make a difference there. And what I found out by getting on all of these committees, getting on ORCAB, getting on the LPA, it really made my eyes wide open as to what the issues were, what some of the problems were, where I could really make a difference. And so then I thought, no, Karen, no, you don't need to do this. Just keep going on with your fun life, be retired. But I'm not like that person. So I had to jump in with both feet.
What are you finding are the top 1 or 2 or 3 issues that people are asking you about right now that you're in the muck of things?
Well, obviously, it's the budget, raising the mill rate. Why do we have to do that? Why can't we do the rollback rate? The budget is a big thing. Safety is huge. When are these lights going to be put on a stero? Evidently, FPL approved the light that was in testing. So now I think the next step is to be working with Lee County and finding out timing and funding and that type of thing. The dune walkover, but that's to me, it's just such, it is a big thing, but there are so many issues and most of them falling around budget, leadership, management of the town.
When you
Can I just ask,
Yep.
as people have been sending you emails and have you have been talking to people, has something come up that you were like, oh, well, that's a different one? Because we do tend to hear, the
Mhm.
big 2 or 3. Is there
Mhm.
something that's come up that you're like, I wasn't as aware of or was a surprise to you?
There were a couple things that came up about the library tax and the fire department tax that I really had not thought about. I mean, I knew they were separate tax lines and rates for us, but I didn't understand all of the ins and outs of it. So I'm still researching all of that. Another one that's come up is the storm sewer system.
Hmm.
A lot. And people still having problems, even maybe more problems that Estero is built and done and ready to go and is going, and we still have the stormwater issues, the runoff, the flooding streets. So that is a huge one that's come to play literally in the past 2 or 3 weeks.
when you mentioned earlier about the millage rate and the budget, what is the feedback that you're getting mostly from people that they're disappointed that it's clearly going to be raised, or they're okay with it?
No, they're furious, absolutely furious. We're making another $500,000 or more just in property tax increases because our properties have increased so much, and it's almost like double taxation. So absolutely furious.
Now, there's a meeting tomorrow night. Tomorrow night there's a meeting at 3, a regular meeting. Then the budget meeting is at 5, and the budget will be approved. It has to be approved because October 1st
Right.
is the fiscal year, start of the fiscal year, and the short-term rental folks are feeling that they're kind of getting left out in the dark on this last run.
That
First
was
was the farm.
blindsiding,
Yeah.
is what it was.
What do you think? Anything's going to happen tomorrow, or you think they're just going to blow it off?
Well, I have asked, I have emailed, I have been getting emails, I have talked to property management firms. I'm just asking them, you need to come out in full force. You need to be at that meeting. You need to give your opinions. You need to talk about it. There's no other way that anyone's going to listen. We did that for Farmers Market, and Jim Adderholt jumped on with that and talked about what a service it is to this community. And the town backed off and they stayed the same. So there's something that can be done. Really, when you think about it, when you think about it, we went from 50 to 300 per license, and that was barely put into place. And all of a sudden, we have $100 for bed. Where did that come from?
Right, $100 per room. Yep.
Per
On
room.
top of that,
So,
the thing somebody before we got started today, somebody asked how come there aren't the same rules for the condos that rent out the condos, and I don't know the answer to that, but they're
under different licenses.
I see.
Yeah. Different licenses.
Because imagine if the town could get another 100 for every condo, another 100 for every hotel room, they'd be rolling in money.
Yeah, well, they can't touch that though. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, how do you think? What are you expecting tonight?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough one. This is the first one that Ray has attended, so the good news is the questions have already been brought to everyone's attention. They're sorted. They are in a bucket. So it'll be random picking. It won't be people from the audience just going off what maybe someone else said. And we'll each get our turn, from what I understand, to answer, just like we did when we had the Beach Talk Radio ones. So
when you say you all know what the questions are?
No, we have no idea.
I thought
that was my next
no.
question.
The chamber collected the questions. Yep.
And the chamber then went through and kind of grouped them together based on topic.
Right.
I think.
Right.
And they all went into a basket or whatever that's going to be pulled out of. So no, we have no idea what the questions are.
So what do you think is going to make you stand out tonight?
Just being me.
Mm-hmm. Can't change now, right? I mean,
I am who I am.
It's been working to this point.
Yeah, I am not political anything. I am who I am. I tell the truth. I'm totally transparent. I will continue to be.
Any other questions for Karen?
Well, I was going to say, we're talking about the rates and doing the increases. To me, it seems like just watching, especially with the change from the up to 300 and then Bay Oaks kind of jumping up there, that you really need to look at doing a scaled kind of way? Because it just seems like it's been a huge jump in so many things. What do you think you would put forth if elected to kind of mitigate those big jumps?
Well, first off, you need a plan and you need a formula. There is no plan. There is no formula. These numbers came out of, I don't know where. Oh, well, because we haven't raised these rates in 11 years, we should try this. I could probably understand and maybe even get behind things more if I knew what the rationale was. But we don't get that. We just get numbers. And even when we got the preliminary budget in the LPA, we got
on the beach is that he's almost over transparent. He tries to make sure everybody knows how many toilet brushes he bought for a fire, for the fire hall down the
Don't
street.
forget the ladder.
There's
Right.
a beauty to that. I love that about him.
Yeah.
And he's extremely thoughtful. He has an incredible director of finance, which again, the town does not have. We need that. He's got an incredible director of finance that provides the oversight, the rationale, the long-term planning, the short-term planning. And then once he has all that information, he can go to the board with a decision or a plan. We don't have any of that.
What do you think's the best way to get that information out? There's the point you make about being more transparent, and then and getting it out there to the people. Not everybody wants to know the minutia, but a lot of people are interested. And
Yeah,
so
they are.
what's the best way to get the information out, do you think?
I think the information has to be there to begin with. And then people they're coming, because it doesn't make any difference anyway. Nobody's listening to us.
What do you mean?
Well,
Coming.
when I was talking to short-term rental people and property managers, and I'm like, you got to get out there. You got to get your voices heard. Same thing with the beach vendors. And they're like, well, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. They don't listen to us.
Like a sense of apathy about
Just defeat.
Yeah.
Just defeat. And that's not the way people should be looking at their town council, at their town offices. Town council should be working for the people on this island, not the other way around.
All right, Karen. Well, good luck tonight.
Thank
You
you.
don't need it, but have a good
need it.
time.
I always need it. Always
All
need
right,
it.
Karen Woodson, everybody. She'll be up on stage tonight at 6:30 to 6:45, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
on.
for coming
Thank
on.
you.
All right, Karen Woodson is one of 4 candidates for the town council, and John King is going to come on and join. I'd be great. And we're also testing out. We're getting some feedback on the Wi-Fi here at the church to see if we can get it any better for. But
that's the other thing too. Like, she just got up and said, do you want me to go get John King? Like, every time all of them have been on, at least the 3 that we've had on, there's a lot of give and take, camaraderie. There's no, it's been a nice run campaign. There hasn't been any ugly mailers. What?
Look who's in town. Steve Duello's back in town. Oh, Cindy's here. I didn't even know they were coming back. John King's going to join us. Come on, John.
Nice.
We're on the show, by the way, Steve. He's in. He doesn't care. Ladies and
was
gentlemen,
right
John
outside,
King is also running for town council. And John, same question for you that we started off with.
Actually, I'm mostly pedaling right now.
Karen, yeah. How much weight have you lost on that
I'm down
bike?
about 10.
10 pounds for
Nice.
riding the bike.
Tummy's firmed up a little. I'm down to like a pony keg. So.
Let's not get crazy. Your tummy is not firmed up at all.
Ow.
I take that back. It's very firm. It's
In
very
the ear,
firm.
straight to the heart. Thanks.
So how many miles have you ridden on the bike so far?
I do about 13 miles a day.
Nice.
Yeah.
How fast you get going on that bike?
Well, not fast enough. I get past
I
a
see.
lot.
Well,
But I've got 1 speed, or actually 3. My dad, when I worked for him, used to say, son, you have 3 speeds: slow, slower, and slowest.
but you're out there, you don't want to be going so fast
No.
that people can't read or stop you to say
Oh.
hello or
I
That's
did.
the
Have you seen
question.
how big his sign? He's not going that
no.
fast. Come on.
Wow.
Well, sometimes they get a headwind and then
Yeah.
they blow across
Yeah.
the sign. And
Are you riding on the sidewalk or?
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Got lights and a helmet and the
You
whole
wearing a
No
helmet?
No helmet.
Yeah.
Josh,
I think
Gosh, what's wrong with you,
gotta
man?
wear a helmet.
there's nothing in between the ears.
Yeah.
anyway, so-
Oh, yes, there's
So,
plenty.
how is your campaign coming? Or
Real
going?
well.
Is it
Having a lot
coming
of
or
fun.
going? Which is it?
I'm sorry.
Is it coming or going? Which is it? How's it
Both.
going? Yeah.
I'll be coming and down to Times Square, and then I'll
Yeah.
be going back
I
home.
see. So, how do you think you're doing?
I think real well. Getting a lot of positive response, especially when I'm out on the King Campaign Cruiser.
Yeah.
Or somebody that my wife works with said, that's more like pimp my trike.
Really? So when you talk to people, voters, and you're knocking on doors and you're out there chatting with people at the Whale and other places that have events, what are the top 3 issues they're asking you about?
I don't have a lot of issues that come up, really. Occasionally, it's somebody wants to complain about Margaritaville. They asked how that,
Really?
if that was going to,
So old news now. Come on.
well, it's still an issue with some folks. And
Yeah.
they said, what do you think about Margaritaville? And I said, I think it's happening next year.
Right.
And then somebody wanted about the fishing pier
Okay.
on the Matanzas Pass. So
What about the budget and the millage rate? And you get much feedback about that? Or what are your thoughts on whether
well, I'll be
that-
talking about that tomorrow at the town council meeting. I've got my 3 minutes address all worked up, and it's always going to be no more taxes and no more fees and things like that.
What do you think when people say, well, it's only $20 or it's only $40 and, we need to do these projects? What's your answer to that?
Well, it depends. I know that's one of the things the town put out there about the millage rate increase, but it was with the homestead. Now, there's a lot of folks that don't homestead here, so
Right.
that's a heck of a lot higher. And they don't have a voice either because they're not full-time residents and they don't vote. So I want to speak for those folks.
And there's also other fees that the town has raised, and there's other taxes they have to pay. It's not just that one millage rate. I mean,
Well, and then
everybody's
you have to keep in mind that condo associations like mine have to meet new state mandates because of what happened on the East Coast at Surfside. So we have to undergo massive inspections on our buildings, and it's resulting in higher association fees and special assessments. So people have got that on top of their tax bill and inflation.
What do you think about the short-term rental edition, the $100 a room on top of the $300 fee?
Well, it's interesting because they allow the condos to opt out. So
Yeah, we were
it just
talking
makes no
I
sense
still
to
don't
me.
understand how you're just allowed to opt out. If I own a
It's-
vacation home, why can't I just opt out then?
I agree.
I mean, how do the
And one of the things that got pointed out to me, and was that some people still have their first home from when they moved here, and they rent that out,
Yeah.
and they use that as an income, and also to help pay. They're paying now more in fees and taxes than they ever collect off of renters.
Mhm.
Not right.
Now, talking about fees and everything, and we were just mentioning this in the last interview, there's been this big jump in everything. And one of the rationales is because, well, we haven't done it in, many, many years. What would be your plan to mitigate that, not prevent that from happening where it's
Good to see you.
just all of a sudden random?
That's one of the things I'm going to talk about tomorrow is, again, you're right. It hasn't happened in 11 years. Whose fault is that? There are
Mhm.
people in that room tomorrow that have been there at least long enough to have brought up this and make it small incremental instead of taking it all out at once and hurting people.
we know a lot of the votes are down on the South End, and a lot of the times people say if you can win the South End, you can win the election. How's it going down there for you?
Real well. I'll be part of the EBIA forum on the 13th of October, but I'm also spending time talking to condo associations on the South Side and their boards and their owners and introducing myself because I have a condo association background. I helped overturn or change that sea turtle window 10 ordinance by showing up for these meetings and speaking my mind.
Are there any unique
ahead.
concerns that they have that the South End or that you don't hear on the other end, or is it all pretty much the same?
It's all the same, especially with the higher taxes, the higher
Okay.
fees. And again, we've talked about it previously. People are paying more in taxes anyway because their property
tax.
values increase so much.
Right.
What are you expecting tonight?
I'm expecting to have a lot of fun.
Oh, come
this
on.
has been a fun process. I'll throw in some controversy for you. Just say,
Not for me.
maybe I'll just
but
say,
thank
Ed,
you.
this is for you.
No, please don't do
No,
that.
I mean, you can't all sound the same up there. I mean, that wouldn't work.
No, I don't expect to sound the same. I
Mhm.
mean, yes, there will be places where Karen and I agree on things. I don't know. This is the first one Ray's been to, so I'm not sure. But Patrick and I occasionally agree on some things as well.
Yeah. When you come into the home stretch for like the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, is it going to be mostly flyers and signs? Is that what the game plan is?
I've got flyers. I'll have mailings. I've got signs, and I'll be out standing on street corners, meeting people as they go to work, and hopefully meeting them when they come home.
Have you been able to go door to door, knock on doors,
Yes.
and or do you just go to one condo building and just knock on
It's
every
hard
door?
to get into the condos because
see.
of the security.
I
but-
see. And so, what's
They're
it?
keeping the riffraff out? Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean?
What's it like
Why'd
to?
you look at me when you said that?
What's it like to go
When
door?
you see somebody my size coming, wouldn't you go out the door too?
They're
Yeah.
probably, like, all right, we're taking our break now.
When you go door to door, do people want to talk? Or like, I had a politician come to our door, and I'm like, oh, geez. But it wasn't horrible. I mean, because sometimes people just don't want to be bothered, right? Because they're at home.
And then you just hand them your material and say
Yeah.
thanks for your time and move on.
But you know,
But then there are people that invite you into their house.
No
you meet
kidding.
their dogs,
no kidding.
and some of them are more than one generation family living there.
I don't know if this will pan out on the beach at all, but you never know, because you never know how involved people are in politics. Like when I went to vote, I realized that she was running for like state house or something. That she was the only one that came to the door twice. So I voted for her. Now that's not smart. I didn't do all my research, but you felt like she was at least doing the work.
Well, and that's what I found out too. With some people, it's like, this is the first time anybody's come and talked to me. So that's
Well,
they'll
and,
remember you at least.
and I think that goes a long way to address some of the issues we've heard about people feeling disenfranchised and apathetic about town council, that there isn't much change that they can affect. And if you're coming to them and they know you, it does open that door up where they feel like they're being listened to.
If they're apathetic this election, shame on them, because this is going to be a pivotal change election. That this will definitely change.
Well, I
and
mean,
we'll
I
be
think-
focused forward on people instead of just making government work for you instead
Right.
of you working for government.
Well, good luck tonight, John. We
Thank you. Appreciate
we
it.
hope that you stand out in the crowd over.
Well, if I'm sitting down, it's hard to stand out. But
You should do what the fire chief does. Just ask for a smaller chair. Nah, you shouldn't do that.
every time I see him, we always go, "Who's taller?"
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, he
Who
says
is taller?
He's got more hair, so
You
I
know,
think that helps.
when
But I think we're about the same size.
when
Yeah.
Karen was on, we were talking about how he is like overly transparent. Like he wants to make sure you know every single line of the budget. He not only sent it to me, he said, I want you to give me feedback, which I mean, it's crazy. Not crazy, but it's crazy in a good way. Come on the
Yes.
show, talk about it for the entire hour. He doesn't leave anything for guessing.
Spent like an hour with him going over that before he made the presentation, and he did a great, fantastic job. What I appreciate about Chief Martin is he thinks of his people and he thinks of the taxpayers. And I said to a couple fire commissioners, can we share him with the town?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is when he was on the show, he mentioned how, he really data drives a lot of his decisions. And that I just think is a great quality and a great thing to do.
Yes.
Good luck tonight, John.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. John King, everybody. You'll see him up on stage at, is it 6:30 or 6:45?
6:30.
6:30. All right.
I
We'll
knew
see
it.
you in 30 minutes. John
that
King,
would make
everybody.
sense to me.
And now
right,
our
thanks.
third, kind of like I would call him a co-host, is going to come on and join us. And I see Jackie from the chamber over there chatting it up with Dave Elias, the chief political correspondent from NBC2. And he is going to be the moderator for the event tonight. We are at the Beach Baptist Church, and the forum for the town council runs from about 6:30. Instead of guessing, why don't I just look at the agenda, being
Hey,
that I have a copy of the
That's
agenda.
right. Well,
So at
you might have-
at 6:30, Jackie's going to come on and welcome everybody, and she's actually going to give the history of the commotion by the ocean, and that came from Lee Melsick, Mr. Historian himself. And then she will introduce Dave, who is from NBC2. He's the chief political correspondent. We were hoping maybe to snag him before the event started, And then it looks like 6:40 day begins. So it's in between 6:30 and 6:40. And boy, I'm going to be up late tonight. Kieran Farrell, everybody.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How
Thank
are
you for wearing
You
the
guys get-
shirt.
You got cool.
we
shit.
got
I want a
new
shirt like
shirts.
I'm
that.
going to get you a
Hey,
shirt like
I
this.
want a shirt like
The
that.
thing is, I'm going to be missing some shows, so he may need some help co-hosting. So you should need to get a
He's
staff
definitely
shirt.
he's definitely needs some help co-hosting. Yeah, if you're gone, we know who carries this show. Yeah, that's
You're starting
Not a
right
secret.
out of the
Albatross.
gate.
that,
You're
that should not come as news to
You're
anyone.
starting right out of the gate.
Dear, this
right
Off
out
we
of the
go.
gate.
is classic.
Let's get ready to rumble. All
So
right,
you've been paying attention from the sideline for this.
way off the sidelines. Yes.
What is your impression of what you've seen or what you've been able to see in terms of the candidates being
what
out
you've heard.
there, of what you've heard, or you hang on the
Well,
beach, you hang with the
I
You
clique?
hang-
have a pulse
I hang it
on
up,
this
but
community.
let's start off right away by first of all clarifying I do not live in the town of Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not a
everybody knows
resident.
that.
So I really don't have any skin in this game. I pay my my tax bill comes in. I got the fire department. I have the library. I have Lee County schools. I do not have town of Fort Myers Beach.
Mhm.
Isn't
So,
that weird though? You live off the island. You
Mhm.
must live close to the island
I do.
because you
I do.
pay taxes for the Fort Myers Beach Fire
I'm
Department
in the fire district
and
Oh,
the
yeah.
and the library district,
and the library.
but you're
district.
not allowed to vote.
I'm not allowed to vote, but I also don't pay those
I
property
know,
taxes.
Right.
but that's
in town,
but
so-
it doesn't make any sense that
It's
you
just
don't.
where the lines are drawn for those districts.
I know, but they're not drawn consistently, is what I mean. But anyway, enough about that. So
We
you
can
made
take that
that
up
clear.
at another meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
I'm
kidding.
sure you'll be there for that. I,
So have
however,
you-
am not going to fight that one.
Have you been watching the debates and
You know what? No, actually, I did not make the first. You guys had two.
Yeah.
You hosted two. No, I wasn't able to make those due to conflicts. But I did catch them on your YouTube channel.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nice.
You are a
Thank you.
subscriber. Thank you. Are you a
You
paying
know.
subscriber? There is no such thing. I just
I
made that
just
up.
signed up for YouTube. I didn't think I was going to get painted into a corner on this episode, but okay. No, I didn't catch. I caught some of it on the
Mhm.
first one. The second one, I didn't catch it all. I've been watching it really legitimately from the sidelines and just listening to the different, candidates and what they have to say, where they stand. I've seen all the literature. The first one up at Mango-Rita's, I did actually watch that
Mhm.
from where I was at the time. So yeah, no, these are four people who unequivocally care about this island.
No doubt.
There's no question about that. That's not even up for debate. It's the ones who are visible and the ones that you see a lot of, and those are the
Mhm.
people that typically in any race, the candidates that are front of mind typically are the ones that win.
And who is front of mind to you?
I knew.
Front of mind? Well, it's tough. I mean, Karen's everywhere. I see the banners and the flags and the bicycle, and then John is everywhere, and I see him all over the place. Ray, up till now, has been, I would say, relatively speaking, conspicuously quiet.
Mhm.
But we'll see what happens tonight, and then from here on in. I mean, this is after tonight is where the race really. I think it's where the race really begins.
So I know you're not a resident of the beach, but many people come to this island. Many people, visit and stay here and enjoy the area. What are some of the issues that you see? Not issues, but what are some of the things that are important to you as someone who comes to this community a lot, even though you
Yeah.
don't have a voting? I get it.
No, but I do have a lot of friends. I mean, I have been blessed with a lot of great friendships on this island. And so when I read about things and I watch the town council meetings, I don't watch them all, but I watch enough to be considered informed.
Yeah.
I see a lot of things that are happening that I just don't see as right. I think for an entire administration to go 11 or 12 or however many years they went without raising a single fee until all of a sudden 10 years or whatever the time, I don't know what the time is, don't quote
Right.
me on it, but all that time has elapsed without any kind of increase whatsoever. And all of a sudden, wham, you're going to hit them with doubling fees and tripling fees and quadrupling fees. And for what? I mean, if Bay Oaks is losing that kind of dough, then something's got to change. I don't know what it is. It's not my area of expertise. But raising fees like that quickly, I think.
What else you said? You said you saw several things that you didn't.
Well, the one that is probably going to catch catch the most ire of the citizenry, as far as I can tell, would be the short-term vacation rentals. Because I really think there was, and I don't know if Bill Veach misspoke or if he actually meant it, but when he said that we should really start, the phrase was bucket of cash. Does that ring a bell?
It was something like that.
We
Yeah.
have to have this bucket of cash for when something comes up. Well, what's going to come up that's what it reserves, I think, is what he meant to say. But automatically jacking up the short-term vacation rental fees, you're not going to inhibit people from buying up property by bouncing the fees up to $300 plus $100 per room.
Right. What he was saying was
it on to the guests.
He wants there to be some kind of account ready for when they figure out what they want to do for the affordable housing, and that they could be working on the plan on another track while they're banking money for whatever it is they figure out.
Workforce housing should be left up to anyone else except the government.
That goes for a lot of things.
Well, of course it does. But for them to think that they can take on something like workforce housing or affordable, whatever you want to call it, property on this island is simply too expensive.
Right.
To be able to, people figure it out. If I buy this house for $400,000, pick a number. I'm just picking a number, and I can rent it out by the monthly for $2,000. Why am I going to do that if I know that I can also rent it out for $2,000 a week?
Right.
To somebody who wants to stay here for a week. Economically, it doesn't make sense to even try to come up with any land on this island to build something that's not going to net you a maximum profit.
And even $2,000 a month is not affordable. That's still
a stiff rent.
And it's reasonable for the area, though.
It's for a monthly rent. It's not crazy numbers on a vacation basis. If July, August, September.
They already have a piece of property behind Town Hall. Why don't they create a project out of that? Get it rezoned for whatever it needs to be rezoned for, and build a building
they paid $1 million for
and
that
it's just
land.
sitting there, and it's going to be turned into a parking lot if a couple of them get their way back there, so they can move their trucks back there.
Well, you saw the storm that blew in when they were talking about putting in that the Upland Services building there.
Yeah.
And all the people that lived on that street came down
in that canal.
Pitchforks and torches. Imagine what's going to happen if you tell those people, we're not going to put the Upland Services building. We're going to put affordable housing there.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night at the town council meeting if there's an uproar over the short-term rentals, because either they're going to speak up tomorrow night before the meeting or during their 3 minutes to speak, or they're just going to wait until the administration change. And I've heard both.
It's going to take something for them to reverse those charges, because it's
approved, apparently.
According to Attorney Heron, it's a done deal. They approved it. So I don't know if they're going to be able to turn around and unapprove it, disapprove it.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see how that happens.
We all disapprove of it, but
right.
vetoing it is a whole different ballgame.
Anything else other than those two issues that you think? What about the millage increase? You think that's a big deal?
That one sticks in my craw a little bit too. The valuations by Lee County appraiser bumped everybody's property values up
18%.
Yeah. 20%, 18-20%, and then on top of that, you're going to increase the millage rate
and the fees.
So to me, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like kind of double dipping.
Yeah, you're the second person to say that.
I'm just saying. Well, yeah. How much money do they need? Come on.
Well, Bay Oaks needs a lot of money.
Of course it does. But as somebody once said not too long ago, maybe they ought to rethink the entire Bay Oaks.
There's people
project.
that use Bay Oaks that have been saying that.
Of course there are, but there's also a lot of people who don't use Bay Oaks.
No, I'm saying there are people that use Bay Oaks that are saying you need to rethink this. We don't need something that big. Right. And if they're saying it, there's no stopping it now. I don't think there's any stopping that project now. You got the property values increased 18%. You got the millage rate going up. You got the fees going up. You got inflation at an all-time 40-year high.
It's starting to get pretty expensive to live here.
You've got the library board that approved a millage increase, or will at their second meeting.
I don't know if the library board
did. They went not up as much as they originally thought, but they will go up after the second meeting.
Okay.
And then the only one that stayed put was the fire district, because what happened was Chief Martin figured out how to use the money from the higher property values and work the budget that way.
Yeah.
You know what he did? He delayed the new building. That's what he did. Because that's what a
It's
good
wise move.
manager does. You don't have the money.
It's a wise move.
You don't have the money.
You got to show some fiscal sense. You know, people just don't, in this day and age, they just don't have money to burn. Not with 8.2% inflation rate.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
So how's the motorcycle riding going?
It's
And teaching?
The teaching's going great. The motorcycle riding, not so much. I have a close circle of people who I'm not sure exactly what they would do with my corpse if they found it on the side of a road on a motorcycle ride. I'm not sure. They'd probably drive on by. That's my guess.
Is the teaching, is that a job or just something you do? Or
It's part-time work.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
a lot of fun.
We're going to sneak Dave in here real
course
quick,
you are.
Karen, before.
Yes.
Wow.
Dave, can you join us
I
for
mean,
5
just
minutes?
real
You're like
talent is here.
getting the
And off I go.
Yeah. He's got a nice suit on.
yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen,
he's gonna-
Dave, is it Elias?
Elias
from NBC. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for coming out to the beach.
You know what? It's good to be here, and it's been a while since I've been down to Fort Myers Beach, and Margaritaville was proof of that. When I came over the bridge, I
Oh,
was
wasn't that?
shocked
Yeah, right.
at how much last time I was here, it was just dirt. It was a parking lot.
Yeah, that is going up fast. They've gotten the roof on now.
Yeah,
It's
it's going great. It's
crazy.
1 year away. So, Dave, what is your role tonight? What will you be doing?
So tonight I will be moderating the event and asking all of the questions. I just got a little history lesson, and it sounds like, I do all of the politics for Southwest Florida, but sometimes I don't get down to this level, but there's a lot of things to talk about here on Fort Myers Beach.
Right. Now, let's talk about some of the other politics, like the races that you're covering mostly now are, Byron Donald's race isn't really that much of a race.
That isn't much of a race, of
Right.
course. He is challenged, but we understand how that goes in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
But a big race that we have our eyes on right now is the governor's race. In fact, I just interviewed Charlie Crist, who was in Lee County yesterday.
Oh, who
He
knew?
made a stop in
Not
Fort
you.
Myers, and he made a stop in Charlotte County. The big story in Charlotte County is nearly 200 people showed up in a county where Republicans outnumber Democrats 2-1. So that was a surprise that there were 200 people showed up for his event.
And do you really think that's going to be a close race?
If you look at the polls, it's showing that it's getting closer, but we know how polls go. And we've kind of learned since 2020, we can't put a whole lot, really 2016, that we can't put a lot of stock into polls. So who knows?
What
Any more local races that you think are interesting or
Like the school
challenging?
board
The
Like
school board races are unbelievably big right now and getting a lot of attention. Normally in years past, school board races barely get a mention.
Yeah.
But because of, all of the controversy surrounding those races, they've really become a big deal.
Who do you see has the lead in the Langford and Nystrom race there? Jada's got the machine behind her, and
Right.
Denise has the experience from her years working in New York or New Jersey at the school
Right.
district.
Massachusetts.
Or Massachusetts. So how does that look to you?
From what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's really going to be close.
Right.
I know there are a lot of people split on that, and it's going to be interesting. I don't usually get involved in the polls. But I am hearing it's going to be close.
And what are your thoughts on this school superintendent being elected?
Well, I have talked to people both for and against. It's been from the research I've done that most districts our size don't try to pull off something like this.
Yeah.
And, there are really only 2 states in the country that even do this to begin with. It was kind of foreign to me because I've worked in Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and I've never heard of that until I moved here.
So who's behind it? Who's pulling the strings on that one?
I don't know. That's the $1 million question. Do you have the answer?
I don't, other than persons, and that's the only name I've heard, right?
Well,
Is
sure.
that-
Well,
She introduced,
Right.
of course,
Yeah.
that. And so, locally, maybe that is where it comes from because she's thrown it out there.
How long have you been involved in covering politics?
Well, I've been here now in Southwest Florida for 10 years. I've been at NBC2 for 10 years, started out as an investigator for 2 years. So politics strictly 8 years, but I've been in the business this summer. In August was 36 years.
Wow. And
Wow.
y-
Let me
Go
just
ahead.
ask, over the time that you've been doing this, have you seen the interest from the public in politics grow, or
I'd say it has grown.
Yeah.
And I would say at around 2016, we saw a lot of people who were maybe turned off by politics become inspired with politics. People that I interviewed and talked to could have cared less about politics, until Donald Trump came on the scene.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of people interested that I think weren't interested before. I think that's fair.
In the different cities that you've worked in, have you ever seen a Republican machine like we have in Lee County?
No, because the place that I last came from, Democrats were, Pittsburgh was a very blue collar city. That has evolved now over the years, but it was a very blue collar city, a very Democratic area. Ohio, much the same. And so when I came here, it flipped for me in terms of covering and seeing just how many Republicans there are versus Democrats.
If you were a betting man, would you bet that DeSantis runs for president in this upcoming election?
All of my sources point to yes.
Yeah.
He has denied that claim, but all of my sources point to yes.
I think that every time something goes south for Trump, like something goes bad for him, it's good for DeSantis if he wants to run. I mean, it just seems like stuff keeps piling up on Trump every single day. There's more bad news about what he's done or it's the other side would say they're out to get him. But other people that we talk to too say that if they were betting that he's going to run in 24. So what are you expecting tonight?
I'm expecting a lot of good questions.
Yeah.
I am expecting, I hope, a lot of good answers.
Yeah.
And, I guess we'll see what plays out. It sounds like there are a lot of things to talk about. A lot of rates going up here in on Fort Myers Beach. A lot of spending. So I guess those will all come up tonight.
Yeah, the millage is going up and the fees are going up and the short-term rental fees are going up and
parking, I believe,
parking went up.
Parking went way up. Yeah.
So if a brawl breaks out on stage, what's your call?
Is that
on
your
that?
job? Is that how you're going to moderate? Is that part of your?
Actually, that has happened to me in my career, and I was hosting a congressional debate.
Of course,
and, they both got into a fight, and it was
Like
live
a
on
physical?
radio. I had to step between them. We went to a commercial break. I was in radio at that time. We went to a commercial break, got them calmed down, and came back. It ended up making national news because there were TV cameras there covering the debate. It was their one and only debate.
Where was this?
So this was in Ohio, in Steubenville, Ohio.
Steubenville.
Congressman Bob Ney and Rob Birch, his Democratic opponent.
Oh, at least it wasn't a guy and a girl.
No, this was two guys.
I mean, I was going to ask you what's the most odd thing that's happened, but that may be
that's around the top of the list.
That's top of the list.
Yeah.
All right, I think they're calling you, Dave. So
All right.
thanks so much.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much
coming
for
out
taking
here.
the
Thank
time.
you so much.
Appreciate
It's a pleasure
Thank you.
meeting both.
All right, Dave from NBC is going to be your moderator for tonight. Can you imagine?
He is dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
I love that suit.
How much
Red,
you think
white,
he
and
paid
blue.
for that suit?
I don't know, but it is snappy.
Yeah. Well, cut it out.
It's a
I have
snappy-
a nice suit too.
You didn't dress up
That's
for it.
like they fit him for that suit,
And it's-
don't you
yep,
think?
yep,
Well,
yep,
you know,
yep.
all those TV people, they always look nice. They always got nice clothes on, and
Yeah,
nice
that's true.
suits on, and nice
I wonder if
dresses
they have
on.
to buy their own.
I don't
or
think
if they
so.
get a stipend
I think
or
they
something.
I think they get mentions, like the businesses that give them the
To give them-
suits. What's going on there? There's a lot of touching.
Well, they
going-
gotta
he's
put
getting a
his
wireless microphone on. How about we see if Jackie's got 2 minutes. She's running around crazy. Jackie, 2 minutes? 2 minutes? Yeah. We just wanted to say thank you for having us.
Oh,
and
thank you.
What are the rules? You lay the ground rules.
So the rules are number one, and the biggest rule is to be kind, be courteous. We are all friends and neighbors here. We are allowed to agree to disagree, and I ask for civility. And if there is anyone who is not following my very important rule, I will be handling them.
Yeah,
they will be asked to leave. So
Just hearing about a
Dave
story
said
like
that he covered once where the fist fight actually broke out.
well,
That's
if
not
it was
gonna
going to
happen.
happen, we do have a protester out front dressed as a pirate. So hey,
Is
where
that
else but
true?
on the beach?
Oh,
Yes.
I don't think with these four candidates though.
protester. Protesting just
I don't know.
Okay,
I want to
Crazy.
dress like a pirate tonight. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah,
Why
that's
not?
right.
It's the beach.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do, right?
The rules as far as
So
questions.
the rules are we have 4 types of questions going to be answered. Questions with a 1-minute timeline, a 3-minute timeline, multi-choice questions, and then also some yes and no questions. My objective is to get through as many questions as we possibly can because we got a lot of thoughtful input and
Mhm.
questions from folks. Almost all of them relevant and appropriate and important. And so we included almost everything. We got a couple of commentaries that, you know,
Yeah.
I appreciate them. I'm so pleased they sent them in, but it's a ask a question, not give a comment. So we're going to move through those questions pretty quickly.
So you said there's a couple multiple choice answer questions.
Well, they're going to be questions that have multiple answers.
Okay.
So it's going to take, you know, it's kind
Take
of a
them
two-part
along,
question.
okay.
Yeah, two-part question.
It's not like
So it'll
choose
take
A,
them-
B, C, or D.
Yeah,
It's-
no,
okay.
it's more of a two-part question.
Now, did you have to buy Dave that suit before? Is that the trade here? Because I want one of those
Listen,
suits.
He's pretty
I mean,
spiffy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Says not
Snappy
often we
dress.
see somebody dressed so sharp on the
I
beach,
know.
you know?
He's completely overdressed. He's
I
the only
know.
one in a suit
It's
here.
so sweet. We so appreciate him coming out this evening. He is a true professional with over 30 years of experience in
Yeah.
the news industry. And we are very, very fortunate to have him here being our moderator tonight. I want to thank him and thank NBC for loaning him out to us for the evening.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
thank you
Well,
so
you know how
much.
busy you are.
Yep.
So thanks for
No,
coming on and thanks for
thank
having
you to
us.
you guys for covering this live
Thank
for
you.
all the folks at
Yes.
home who can't be here. Thank you to the Beach Baptist for hosting us.
Yep.
Thank you to all of the counselors who are here. We have fire commissioners in the room this evening. Thank you to the candidates and, of course, all of our residents who took time out of their schedules and their lives to come in and be a part of the process.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law always told me the purest form of democracy is at the local level.
Oh, yes,
and you're
for
going to
sure.
see that here tonight.
Excellent.
So enjoy.
Thank you,
Thank
Jackie.
you so much.
Jackie Lisak, by the way, dear Jackie is up
I-
for an
I
award.
congratulated her on her nomination when,
Yeah,
when
she's
I
a
first got
finalist.
here.
She's not a nomination. She's a finalist.
Well,
There's
I know, but
three.
She hasn't. They haven't awarded it yet. She's been nominated.
Well, there's nominating, and then there's finalists, and then there's a winner. So she's.
You always have to correct me, and then you're the
Oh, I have
first
to
one to get
correct
on
you.
me when I have to
It's-
correct you.
It's very rare that I'm allowed to correct you, or that there's a reason to correct you, unless it's math, and I always have to jump in and correct you on your math skills. So no, she's got two other people that she's running against. Not running against, but it's
Yeah.
going to be. It's for the Cape Coral Community Foundation, although it's not really the Cape Coral Community Foundation. It's like all of Lee County. I don't want it to get it confused with the Community Foundation here on the beach. This community foundation that was founded in Cape Coral turns 50 years old next year.
Wow.
So we're going to get him on we're going to get Mike, who runs that, on our Friday show when they get closer to their anniversary. And don't forget, we do have a Friday show coming up this Friday, although I'll be solo.
Right.
And I will have Mary Bondurant on from Sanibel. She's going to be talking about it's like Cancer Month or something like that, Cancer Prevention Month, and she puts a lot of stuff together over on Sanibel. And then, if he remembers, we're going to have Alfie Oakes on, because Alfie is a big supporter of Denise Nystrom, who is running for school
Lee County
board.
School board.
And the other thing I wanted to mention about the school board is I finally got a text back from Jada Langford after she'd been ignoring my text to come on the show on Saturdays for I don't know how long. She is in favor.
I ignore your text messages though sometimes too.
She's in favor of the elected school superintendent. Denise is not in favor. I know Chris Patrica is not in favor because she's written about it in the newspaper, in the news press. So it'll be interesting to talk to Alfie Oakes on Friday at 5:20.
Right.
Why are you looking at me funny like that? You're
I'm
looking
just-
at me crazy. It's 6:23. Where's our third wheel over there?
What?
We wanted to bring Kieran back to wrap up the pregame show before we turn it back over to
He's busy.
hobnobbing. For somebody that doesn't live on the beach, he sure knows a lot of people.
Uh-oh.
So, Joe, you got a text from Joe Biden? I saw a
I
picture of
know,
Joe
it's
Biden
just
on your
the-
watch.
It's just
What's
the
going on
headline
there?
news.
So
It's just the
let's
headline
there.
news.
Why don't you see if you can get Kieran back
I'll go
over,
get
and
him.
I'll let everybody know once again that we are.
Yes.
You want Pastor Sean's going to come on? All right, cool. Have a seat, Pastor Sean, one of our favorites. He's been on the show many times. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
We appreciate you letting us broadcast our show here. I promise not to say any curse words or anything like that.
Well, then you won't fit in very well.
Did you bring something to read, or I thought
No, I haven't. She just handed me
I
that.
know,
I have
she's-
no idea what I'm doing.
she's pushing you around the
So,
church
for,
and all that?
For people who don't know, say who you are,
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
do here at the church. Tell us a bit about the church.
I'm Pastor Sean. Everybody should know that. And I'm either
We have audience for vast.
we do too. We have
far
like almost
reaches.
1 billion people optional to watch. Yeah, but
I was walking.
Pastor Sean Kritzer, Beach Baptist Church.
I was. You have some of the cleanest bathrooms on the island. I mean,
Cleanest?
cleanest. Yeah.
that's
I
really
mean,
good.
this is one of the nicest churches. I mean, you've got lounge chairs in this room. You got like you've got like a
Couches.
Starbucks in the back
Yeah,
we do
room.
have
and-
amazing coffee.
Better than Starbucks. We don't
Way
want
better
to say
than-
those words.
yeah,
here,
Let's
but
talk
better
about
than
let's
that.
talk about the coffee. I saw
Sure.
Lindy here from the farmers market. Tell us what
Farmers Market's coming up in first week of October. So our coffee comes straight from Guatemala. We deal straight from the farmers and the pickers and growers. So we're able to pay them about 30 times what they normally get paid
Wow.
for the coffee.
Yeah.
And they have been participated in, like Costco conglomerates and stuff like that. But by being able for us to buy it straight from them, they were selling it for 30 cents and we're paying $3.30, $3.20.
And you guys people can buy it online.
Oh, absolutely. Go to our website, beachbaptist.org. You can buy coffee there. You're supporting I don't call them indigent. I don't know what you call them. They're just great people over in Guatemala who
Hardworking
need
people.
hardworking people. Yeah, I mean
Right.
they're literally getting ready to start picking coffee.
Wow.
Soon.
Excellent.
Well, it
Excellent.
looks like everybody's getting ready to start
Now,
picking their
Get your
seeds.
4-minute
talk
warning,
about this. Let's talk about
Yeah.
the services. When are your services? And
So we do a breakfast at 9:00 on Sunday mornings, and then there's like an Old Testament study class. We taught by a Jewish guy downstairs at 9:30, so that's really fun. And then we have regular church services at 10:30, and then Wednesday night we're doing a community dinner, and that's nothing else. It's just a community dinner. At 5:30.
anybody
Anybody and everybody. We had smash burgers tonight. We had 60 people over there eating.
smash
Wow.
burgers. Do you get the food?
Have you ever been to Halloween here?
No.
Oh my gosh.
You have a
Halloween's
trunk or
coming this
treat?
year.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, we'll have 1,000 people here on Halloween night.
Do you have enough candy and all that, or
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
We,
co-
we
yeah.
have it's trunk or treat. So we have bounce house trunk or treat.
very nice?
Big
And
old
people
slide.
can watch. You broadcast the services.
Oh yeah, Facebook Live from Beach Baptist, or if you go to our website, there's a link to get you over to another screen to watch it
Awesome.
online.
Well, thanks for everything. We appreciate you always coming
Absolutely.
on. And
Yeah.
how's your wife doing, by the way?
She's good.
Yeah.
Busy. She's actually going back to school. She's a nurse in Kentucky. She got her license in Kentucky. She's getting transferred to Florida. She hadn't worked in 30 years as a nurse,
Yeah.
but all these kids are grown. She's been doing her own business for 2 years, and she's just like, you know what? I think I want my license back. So she'll have that done by the end of the year. So
Awesome.
she's
Well,
busy as I am.
they're really there's so many nurses
Oh,
are
yeah, they're
needed
saying
out
they
there. They're
need them
so
like crazy.
underappreciated. So that'll be fantastic.
It'll be awesome.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot for coming on. Thanks for
Absolutely.
having us.
Thank
and we
you.
hope
Good
to
luck.
have you back on the
Need
show
anything, holler.
soon.
All
All
right.
right. Pastor Sean, everybody. Super great guy. Super
Yes.
great guy. Yeah.
But he's got so much energy.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's 6:30 at night. It's like, how do you keep up that kind of
he's
energy
drinking
that
that
late
amazingly
in the evening?
good coffee.
Oh yeah, we got to get some of that coffee. We got to get. Look, let's turn the camera
All
around.
right, let's turn it
So,
around. They're getting ready.
We can still chat, but
ready
we can
for
turn
the
it around so
commotion on
everybody
the ocean.
can see who's actually getting organized. It looks almost like a Jeopardy kind of set, you know?
I think it really looks professional.
Oh yeah. They did a great job. Not sure yet how the sound is going to be because we don't. I mean, all I know is it's supposed to be loud here. I was told it's supposed to be loud here, so we'll see how that goes. But we'll figure it out as we go along. Pastor Sean is a solid guy who does a lot of good around here. Yes, he does, Eliza. And Kim's getting autographs and people giving her hugs and all that. And once again, folks, you're getting ready to watch the Fort Myers Beach Town Council debate. They're calling it a forum, but it's a debate for I can move that. When we get started, Jim, I'll move it out of your way. All four candidates are going to be here for the first time.
Mhm.
And we're going to finally get to hear everybody's opinion on things together so that you voters out there can make a decision on November the 8th. 2 open seats for the 4 with the 4 candidates running for those 2 open seats. What are people telling you back here? They're giving
They're
you
just
hugs and
saying
whispering.
hello, and they're asking about, watching it on Facebook Live because
Yeah.
we're broadcasting it. So
Yep.
you know.
And you guys can comment as things are going along. But you cannot ask questions, or you can ask questions, but there's nothing we can do about it. This is a chamber event that's getting ready to start up. And reminder that we do have a Friday night show, and you will not be participating because you'll be traveling to Austin for a wedding
Yep.
that you've been running 5 miles a day for, so that, I don't know, so that you can look svelter for your friends that you haven't seen since high school. And then Saturday, we're going to be talking more Lee County stuff, some school board stuff. I don't know, I guess I'm enamored by all this school board stuff, the school board election and this this school superintendent thing. Now, everybody on the beach is allowed, you'll have it on your ballot to vote for
Right.
whether the school superintendent.
And you really have to read it because it's worded according to
right. You need
Bobby
to vote no.
D'Alessandro. Yeah. That it's the way it's worded, which is typical. Sometimes they're so wordy, and you really have to read it 3 or 4 times to make sure it's not like a double negative.
Right. And you also have Jada running against Denise, and that is an at-large seat. So that will also be on your ballot here on the beach. So you'll want to hear from those candidates. You want to hear what's going on so you can make an informed decision about the school board this coming November. But the most important race right now is this one that you're watching right there. John King, Ray Murphy, Patrick Romko, and Karen Woodson running for 2 open seats. Ray's seat is open, so he's running for re-election, and he's also the other seat is Vice Mayor Rexanne Hossafrost, and she is not running. And there you are. There you have your 2 open seats and these 4 candidates running. There's going to be one more time where they gather, the 4 of them gather, and that's going to be Bay Beach. And the Bay Beach Condo Association holds a forum every year, and that's coming up, I think, October 13th. That will not be broadcast and will not be open to the public. That will just be broadcast to the Condo Association folks. And I think we got the 2-minute warning before we get rolling. Say we got about 150 people in the crowd here. Very nice crowd of folks here at the Beach Baptist for the debate tonight. Again, you got John King, Ray Murphy, Patrick Romko, and Karen Woodson. What's going on over there? What happened?
Just she wanted to make sure she was putting it out on the chamber page for people to watch our page, so there wasn't too many feeds going out.
All right. That'd be great. More feeds watching our feed.
Yeah.
The best.
All right. Dear, it's time for you to be
All right.
quiet.
If she's starting, then we will try. Karen's, she's talking over the music. So, okay. Here we go, everybody.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beach Baptist and the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce, a motion by the ocean. I'm so thrilled to see you all here tonight. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come out and be a part of this very important process. So I want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Jackie Lezak. I am the president and CEO of the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce. And I'm very excited to be here tonight. I believe this is the 4th commotion by the ocean that I have been privileged to host along with the chamber. And I want to tell you a little bit about Commotion by the Ocean. It's actually been a pretty long-standing tradition on the island, and I just recently learned this week. And I learned the story behind it. Does anybody know the story behind how Commotion by the Ocean? No? See, maybe they don't want me to tell it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Because I have a very loud voice, so I can do it without a microphone. So I was having a really great conversation this week with one of our island residents, Lee Nelsick. I think a lot of you know Lee. And he had asked a couple of questions, and we had been going back and forth. And he submitted this story to me, and I asked him if I could share it with all of you tonight, and he said yes. So in 1978, Lee Nelsick was traveling with State Senator Bob Graham in his run for governor. Bob's campaign featured him working at various jobs. On a hot summer day in Lauderdale, he was down below a street helping city workers in a Bob looked up and said, "Melsick, tell the commotion by the ocean that the doer is in the sewer." He said,
can get to know the backgrounds of our candidates and the views of each candidate. And tonight we'll be asking questions of all of these folks up here on the dais. Before we start, I want to thank Beach Baptist, Pastor Sean, and his team for their generous welcome this evening. Thank you. I want to thank the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association for their generous sponsorship of tonight's event so we can provide some snacks and some drinks for everyone. Thank you. I'd like to recognize any of my chamber board of directors. I'm not sure if I have any board of directors here today. We had a board meeting this morning and a lot of them had said they were not able to make it. But I do know I have some chamber ambassadors in the audience. If you're an ambassador, can you quickly stand up, please? I think I have at least a half a dozen of those. Thank you, ambassadors. They help me do the heavy lifting. They're so very important in me being able to do my job. I'd also like to thank all of our candidates for taking time out this evening to join us. We truly appreciate it. And I would like to recognize our current sitting town council members. I think we have at least 2 of them here, right? Am I missing? I see Bill Beach is in the back. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim is in the back as well. So we have 3 of our current sitting town council folks here. So thank you very much for coming out this evening. And then I would like to also recognize our fire commissioners. I know we have a couple of those. I saw one. I don't know, Jim Nickel, he's right in the front here. Yep. Thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate that. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this evening. We've got a couple of rules, some housekeeping here. So we have 4 different types of questions we're going to be asking you folks tonight. Some questions are going to have a 1-minute time limit. Some are going to have a 3-minute time limit. Some are going to be simply yes or no. We're going to call that the speed round. That's where we really put their feet to the fire. And then we have a couple of questions that are going to have multiple answers. It's like a 2-part question. So you're going to have to pay attention to get, both parts of the answer so you can answer both parts. All of the questions being asked tonight were submitted by the community to the chamber via email or phone calls or in person. People told me things. And we've put those all down and they are all being drawn at random and they are all anonymous. So we're not taking any credit or blame for any of these questions. They are thoughtful, they're insightful, and they actually cover a wide range of topics. I was very, very pleased with the community's response to our request for this. And I want to thank all those folks who sent those questions in, took some time to do that for us. So keeping on time tonight is going to be really important. I have a timekeeper right up here in front. Dave and I are going to work as a team. And if you've got 1 minute, folks, it's 1 minute. And I didn't bring my hook, but I can find one. So don't make me go get it, please. Most importantly, I want to remind everybody, our candidates and our audience, and I don't think I need to say this, but I have to do it as a matter of housekeeping. Our intent here is to conduct this forum in a fair and balanced manner. It's also our intent for every person in this room to treat each other with civility and respect. Attendees, please refrain from clapping, cheering, or booing, or throwing the refreshments that we've provided at each other, the audience, the candidates, myself, Dave, or the folks running the AV booth in the back, please. And then after our evening is over, we will have the candidates hanging around a little bit if you want a little more one-on-one time, maybe clarity for a question or another question has come to you or one that didn't get answered. I hope we can get through all of them, but we have a lot of questions, so we're going to do our very, very best. And with that, I would like to take a moment and thank Mr. Dave Elias with NBC2. Thank you, Dave. I have to walk over here because I lent Dave's bio to the team over here with the booth, and I forgot to come back and get it. And Ed is scrambling to give it to me now. Thank you, Ed. So I was able to do a little bit of background on Dave and quite an impressive career, if I do say so myself, if you'll allow me. And I would like to introduce you, please. So Dave Elias is the chief political correspondent at NBC2. Dave began his career at WSTV in Steubenville, Ohio, where he both anchored the news and even hosted his own radio show. It was called The Voice of the Valley. He has spent time in radio at KQV Radio, an Ohio correspondent, and in 2002, as New York was healing from the 9/11 attacks, Dave traveled there to unveil a 2-part series on how Ohio and West Virginia steel mills supplied the steel to rebuild the World Trade Center. Dave later served as an investigator on West Virginia Media I-Team, joining a team of 5 reporters assigned to investigate stories and expose alleged corruption in the Mountain State. In 2009, Dave gained national recognition for his reporting by uncovering details that led to 2 Ohio police chiefs being arrested for plotting a break-in at the home of the surrogate mother for the famed actress Sarah Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker. I never say her name. Bless her heart. My goodness. So, and we all know that's that lady from the Sex and the City fame TV show. Goodness gracious. So, going on, national news agencies later relied on Dave's reporting of that investigation throughout the trial that followed. With over 33 years of experience in the business, Dave has anchored, produced, and served as bureau chief. Dave joined NBC2 in August of 2012 and brought more than 2 decades of experience to NBC, covering nearly every story imaginable in that time. And in Dave's words, if I may, telling the story first is my goal, but telling it accurately is my most important objective. And that's why I appreciate you being here tonight, because that's what we're all about, right? So named the #1 Florida political reporter to follow in 2020 by the prestigious Washington Post. This is some high talent here we have. I'm so thrilled. I'm pleased to present our moderator for the 2022 Fort Myers Beach Commotion by the Ocean, Dave Elias.
Thank you so much for having me. Coming down here tonight. I've done many of these over the span of my career. And someone asked, what's the worst you've ever seen? I was hosting a congressional meeting once where the congressman at that time from Ohio, Bob Nate, and his Democratic challenger literally got into a fight on radio. So we had to go to a commercial break and end that and come back. So we know nothing like that's going to happen here. Okay.
So we'll give you about 2 minutes to talk about who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. We're going to go for 2 because we got a lot to do here.
So Mr. King is going to go first.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. I'm John R. King. I'm born, raised, reared in Des Moines, Iowa. That's where I spent the majority of my life. Grew up in a small family business. My grandfather immigrated from Italy, worked in the coal mines in Iowa. Yeah, they had coal mines in Iowa. And every once in a while, when the earth opens up, that's where they found a shaft that wasn't marked. But he decided to get out of that, started a family business called the Donut King during the Depression. He worked there until he had a heart attack in the 60s. He survived that heart attack and stayed on as a consultant. But I worked for him, and then my dad took over, worked for him. I swear the only reason he had kids was to work for him and to change the remote TV station because we didn't have remotes back then. Continued to work there, and he got sick with cancer, so I came back home. I had been working in other places and worked with my mother to continue that family business. It was in existence for over 50 years. I'm very proud of that. People still, when I go back to Des Moines, will mention especially the chocolate donuts that we had. After he passed away, we kept it going for a couple more years. I moved on and got into radio as a radio disc jockey. Did that for a decade. That's where I met my wonderful wife, Chris. We've been married for over 32 years. Very proud of that. After radio, I decided to try and get a real job. So I went to work for the cell phone company for about 15 years. My mom got sick at that point. I took time off, separation from them. I was able to take care of her. And in 2020, we came down here, bought a condo, decided to run for condo association board because I didn't like the secrecy and the lack of communication in the condo board. And got on that board and have been trying to keep people informed, get things done. And that's one of the reasons I decided to run for council.
on, Dave Elias for being here, and of course, Beach Baptist Church, Sean Fitzer, for having us here in the church this evening. It's wonderful of you, Sean, to have a Catholic in here and not part of the doors on that. You're ecumenical in these words. But anyhow, our family history here in Florida goes back a long way. My mom and dad actually met here on St. Pete Beach right after World War II. My mom was a visiting nurse from Canada. My dad was gone down to Palm Beach to the Breakers looking for a debutante ball that they struck out at. And so he said, where can a couple of guys find some girls here? They said, there's a bunch of Canadian nurses over on St. Pete Beach. And off they went. And the rest is history. My mom met my dad. Her first date was midnight mass. And all these years later, there's 10 of us kids and countless grandchildren now. And but it all started here in Florida. And it wasn't long before they started their family, came back down to Florida, invested.
I think you have my bio here. I don't know if you want me to read all this or not. I guess I could. I have to say, am I almost done? I guess we're not going to read it. But thanks everybody for being here, and I appreciate it. Grab one of these, and you can read all the information there. Thank you.
Ready? How you doing, everybody? My name is Patrick Romko, and I just want you to know that I've been here on this island for 5 years. My first life started way back in Chicago. Can you hear me? Oh. Anyway, my first life started back in Chicago. We were raised in the south side of Chicago, right near Sox Park, in a very, I'd say, poor neighborhood. And it's still poor. It hasn't changed. It's still pretty difficult. And in that time, I was in our neighborhood at the time. My mom was a single parent, 5 kids, and the scouting program saved me, put me out of the neighborhood and put me into the program. When I was 6 years old, I started scouting, and I've been in scouting for 46 years. I've been giving back every day since then. I'm touching on this because I think it's a value important to let you know who I am as a person, and the Scouting Corps' beliefs in my life as myself an Eagle Scout, but more importantly, the 20 plus Eagle Scouts that I've mentored through the years. In doing that, also, not just through scouting, I was a high school dropout. Push pause. Give me my minute back. Anyway, so I tell that story in school all the time because the reason I dropped out of high school is because I'm going to tell you, a student got shot 3 times in the chest and thrown out the window, and I never went back to high school. But I went back and I talked to the assistant principal who was in scouting at the time, and he told me, do this, do that, do this, do that, and I did exactly what he said. I went to college. Here I am. I have a master's degree. I got my bachelor's degree by the time I was 30. I worked my way through the McDonald's Corporation all the way up to district manager. I've operated many, many different types of restaurants. I opened up 11 Potbelly Sandwich Works, all from my McDonald's experience, and opened up many restaurants. However, I got 5 seconds. I just want you to know, I'll tell you more. Call me over to the house. I'll be happy to come by and meet you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. I know it's a beautiful evening out there, but I really appreciate you being here. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I got the only bling mic. So I am a Midwest farmer's daughter. I grew up in a farm, Southern Illinois, right outside of St. Louis. I learned to drive when I was 10 years old on a grain truck. From there, I went via St. Louis and then Chicago, and 37 years in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where I met my husband, Mark. He's with us here tonight. He is a 37-year veteran in the United States Air Force. Thank you for our service. We have 2 grown children, 2 grandchildren. They're the best. They're always the grands. They are, you know. We retired Mark went out in 2017, 2018. But over that 40-year period, I was basically in human resource management, executive recruiting, small companies, startup companies to large corporations. I moved down here and thought, I need to get involved. What am I going to do? So I started on Friends and Lovers Key Board. Then I went to Bay Oaks Board Cab. I'm ambassador for the chamber. I'm on the LPA. And during all of these different venues, I learned a lot about the community and where the great things are and where the shortfalls are. And it's because of that that I decided to run for town council. So I am not a politician. I never thought in a million years I'd be standing up here doing this kind of stuff, but I am. But what you see is what you get. And I am honest, I am transparent, I am open to any questions you have. Thank you.
And now we're going to start with those questions. These are 1-minute responses. The first question, we'll start with Ray, work our way down, and then come back up. Is it wise to follow the lead of Lee County regarding major issues such as beach closings, or is it better to stand alone as Fort Myers Beach and have differing rules and mandates in place, even on the same island?
Well, that's a very good question, and I appreciate whoever submitted that. At the time, that situation was brand new to everybody, so it was a work in progress. Everything was going on real time, and so while it may not have been the prettiest at the time, it was what we did. And in the future, if something like this were to happen, now that we have more experience in it. It was a little glitch there with the county and the town with the beach closures and so forth. But I imagine if it ever happened again, there would be a little better communication with that, and also cooperation, and hopefully that it would work out a little bit better than it did. But again, it was a brand new situation. We were in the middle of a pandemic. We had to clear the beaches, which we did. No one really knew all the particulars of what was going on. And I'm out of time.
Patrick.
First things first, I think that was one of the topics, obviously, that I was very interested in. Being able to walk on the beach and that right of mine being taken away. It made me look at things in a different way. It also exactly had another reason why I decided to run, because you have to have active membership and you have to have the ear of the people. And I think the ear of the people is we have to ask our residents first. And then I said, we look at the CDC guidelines, we look at the state guidelines, we look at the county guidelines, and we come up with the best solution. But more importantly, we need to also listen to our residents, because I had a voice and I was hoping it would be heard. And I just wanted to walk on the beach, especially when no one else was in town except for us. So, I think working with the county is very important. I think our town relationship with everybody from the state to the county, to just the people in general, making sure that everyone has access to the rules and to the regulations that we're putting in place, or the restrictions on our liberties.
Thank you.
You know, I thought about this a lot, and I've had many conversations. I think at the time, we were in the middle of spring break, and to close the beaches to get people out of here, absolutely, I would have done the same thing. However, once that was done, and once we opened up to rentals again, we still had the beaches closed. Lee County was open. We should have taken a partnership position with Lee County and opened those beaches. It was a safe spot, a safe place to be. You're outdoors. If you wanted to wear your mask, great. Be on the beach and wear your mask. But there's something soothing about being next to the water, being in the open elements. I think it's a caring, it's a healing type of practice, and there was a lot going on at that time that people just didn't know. So
I would have opened the beach.
Oh boy, if we're going to be standing up the whole time, it's going to take me more than 2 minutes sometimes. Listen, this all predated me. I came down here in September of 2020. But what I'll tell you is that if you have a good working relationship with your partner, the county, you will solve these issues a lot quicker. There is an adversarial relationship, and I don't understand it, and I don't understand why. We have to work together on this beach. They own part of it, we own most of it. But so that's why I want to try to improve the relationship with the county. I've already reached out to do that with the sheriff, with a couple of county commissioners, Sandelli and Greenwell. Had a nice sit down with the sheriff. Told him, I'm glad you put your face on there for criminal justice reform, because I have a face for radio. But we don't want to cede our control either. They need to respect where we're coming from, and let's work together. That's the key.
Our next question will start with Patrick. With the recent passage of the additional vacation rental fee without public attention or discussion, do you agree or disagree with passing budgets or new ordinances without any public disclosure or transparency?
I was actually at that meeting, and I was quite appalled. I took shock to it that it was even brought up, and I think that using something like workforce housing as an excuse to raise taxes is the same thing as saying we're going to give money to schools. You know, I'm standing here telling you that that doesn't happen. They give money to schools, and then it gets to go somewhere else. Workforce housing, I think, is, if that's the problem we need to fix, but to surprise us with that taxation and to just do it without any feedback it's difficult. It was difficult for me to chew. But again, I think the money grab, I think the way that we're looking at that now in this economy, the way we have it, I don't agree with it. I didn't agree with it. And I think that going forward, we need to make sure that we have that open communication. We have a year plan. If you're going to put a tax on us, give me a year or two to figure that out. You put a tax on these people, and they got to change their budgets just like that. Let's give them some time to manage those two as well. Thank you.
I too was sitting in that meeting, and I was like, what just happened? And I think a couple of our council members thought the same thing. What just happened? Without notification, without transparency, I think the practice is wrong. I think it's bad. I think it should be changed. I don't think that for any reason that should make it into the budget the way it is. I have never seen a formula for it. I've never seen the reasoning for it, except for workforce housing, which we don't even have a plan for. We don't even have an outline for. We don't have any experience in, but we're going to start saving money for it. I just don't understand that.
There's nothing like a tax increase snuck through to make people feel good about their government. It's not the first time these things have happened here. We do a lot of sneaky things, it feels like, here without sharing and communicating. It's one of the things I plan to do if I'm elected to this council, is sit down with you on a regular basis, monthly basis if I have to. If I have to meet here, if I have to meet down at my condo association, if I have to meet at the library. I want to let you know what is going on in town government, what we've been doing for that month. How do you feel about it? What would you like to see? That's the key right there. Don't let people feel like their government is not working for them. The government should be working for you. You don't work for the government.
Amazingly, I too was at that meeting. And I support the concept of workforce housing. I support it wholeheartedly. And to correct you all, it's not a tax, it's a fee. It's a fee. It's a fee. And there's semantics. It's so anyhow, but I do support it, and I think if you if all of you have your favorite waiters and your favorite bartenders and favorite people that you know down here on the beach that work for you, and they can't live on this island anymore. They used to be able to, but they can't anymore because there just isn't enough housing here that they can afford to live in. So we're trying to correct a problem that the rest of the United States is trying to correct as well. We're not unique down here in trying to solve the problem of workforce housing. But we're going to take a stab at it, and this is the way you start. You start with a program, and we're starting. We do have a program that's starting, Karen.
So the next question will start with Karen. The town council is requesting an increase in millage rate on property taxes. How much property tax do you personally pay for real estate property that you own on Fort Myers Beach?
Are you asking per year?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, our property taxes, I mean, if everything is passed, will go up about $600-700. They're already going up with home value. But our normal property tax, if you average it out for the 5 years, 6 years that we've owned, have been almost $9,000 a year. You know, it's one of those things. Our property taxes have gone up because our property value has gone up. So it's almost like double taxation to raise the millage rate on top of that. What we should be doing is rolling back our taxes so we come out even with it and not take a double hit. I mean, we talked about it, cost of living, everything is going up right now and people are struggling. We don't need to add tax to that struggle.
Quite honestly, I couldn't tell you. My wife does. And thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I'm sure you have them. I know you do. I know they're going up. I know I got the bill and looked at it, but it just didn't stay with me. I am a condo owner. I am a taxpayer. But I'll tell you what, I was in that council room about 3.5 months ago when I heard the town manager tell the town council they didn't have to raise the millage rate. They could provide the same number of services that they did this year as they can next year without raising it. And they would have had $2.1 million to spend on council initiatives. No tax increase. Thank you.
To answer the first part of the question, I'm leasing a home right now, so I don't receive the tax bill myself, but I can guarantee you I'm paying the tax bill. I can guarantee that. Now, Karen, you said that it should be rolled back because of all these things that are coming. The programs the projects that we're trying to afford to pay here came from your committee. The Bay Oaks project came forward from the BORCAD committee to the town council, the recommendations to go ahead with these projects, which we're more than happy to do. We're more than happy to do that project. We're more than happy to do the beach renourishment. More than happy, most of us, to have community policing. More than happy to do all those projects. Costs money, and it could not have been done at the rollback rate. It could not have been done at the other rate. It turned out to be on the high end rate that the vice mayor had proposed. So we can roll it back, and believe me, I'm a big fan of the rollback rate. I'd love to be able to do that, but with all the other projects that are involved, it's impossible.
Patrick. Thank you, Ray. Everyone, workforce housing, I work and I rent. As a teacher, I can't afford $1 million for a house, but if anybody can understand that, I appreciate that. But I do live in a house, a fourplex, where it was just bought recently for 1.2. And the owners of the property, the owner, Steve Wassman, who has guaranteed me the opportunity to stay at that place for the next 5 years. He said, go ahead and call him if you have any questions. The second thing I wanted to say, though, is my rent went up $2,400. So that currently, if I'm paying the amount of money that I'm making, only $50,000 a year, everyone already knows that's public information. So half of my money goes right to there. But you know what? I sacrifice being a teacher. I sacrifice that so I can live on this island. Do I believe in workforce housing? I do, but not in a program. There's other concepts I'd like to talk to you about down the road. However, I think we should talk about it. So thank you. Millage rate, keep it as is.
All right, our next question will begin with John. From the many threats to our natural resources on Fort Myers Beach, what are 3 top concerns and how do you intend to improve them?
This is where I'm going to give the town council some credit. The beach renourishment project, definitely needed, and that's a buffer between us and the Gulf. There are places there that need the sand right now. It would be wonderful if they could get it right now, Leonardo Arms specifically. So congratulations and good job on that. There are places where I live where we don't need it, so we'll opt out, and hopefully that'll save the town some money. I know I've worked closely with Dave Nussbaum from Island Winds. They're in a Creeding Beach as well. They don't need it. They don't want it. Leave us alone and save taxpayers some money. I think it's a good thing as well that they take care of the issue of the pesticides. But then again, you had FWC come in on my end of the island where the shorebirds nest, and they did some spraying with pesticides to try and knock down the sand spurs to help the birds. I'm not sure how well that went because I think we had some fatalities with those birds.
I would have to say the top 3 environmental issues here on the beach are water, water, and water. Those are the 3. The reason I got back on the council, came back, and thank you very much for putting me back on the council, was because of the water situation of 2017, 2018. That's the reason I got back involved, because I wanted to have a voice in that discussion, and we've had a very strong voice. We've myself personally and the town and other members, we've participated in meetings actively. We've written letters constantly. We show up. We do everything that we can do. We do everything that we can do locally with the stormwater projects, treating the water before it gets into the bay. We take care of it up in Matanzas Pass with the mooring fields. No more dumping up in the pass. We take care of it with fertilization on the beach. There are lots of things that this little town does to preserve and keep clean our water, and I'm very proud of it.
I like that water. It's good. I appreciate it. It's true. I put it on my list as top 3 concerns. Number 1 being water quality. Obviously, as a reminder that there were piles and piles and piles of dead fish on our beach, and the smell was atrocious. The red tide and algae. I think our water is vital to not just our residents, but the economic stability of our future with the way our direction of our towns go, Margaritaville and the rest of our seasonal rentals. However, I think that there is something more important too as well, and I have to say protection of our natural habitats on the beach, on the island as well. I think that from the natural birds to the turtles has to be something that we're constantly vigilant with. And then I would just say that also when it comes to beach quality, making sure that we're maintaining the beach, making sure that we're keeping it clean, making sure that the sand from one side to the other, when it rains, when it does other things, we make sure that we're constantly going back and renourishing the beach.
So I think I actually found one thing that Ray and I agree on. Water. We are a beach community. We live because of our water, our beaches, our environmental habitat, everything that goes on here. That's why people come here. That's why we came here. To say that that's not important, but I also think there's more to it. There's safety. You know, we don't have lighting on Estero Boulevard. We don't have lighting because we've been trying to figure out the right lighting for our turtles and for our quality for the environment there. We now have that answer, I believe, and now we need to move forward on it. But I do agree that water, beach, safety, absolutely are our top 3.
The next question, we'll start with Ray and work our way down. Should the Fort Myers Beach mayor delegate various project duties to the other 4 councilors, or should the mayor assume the leadership role and take them all on himself or herself?
No and no. I don't know where these questions come from, but people have the wrong idea of what the mayor is. The mayor is one more councilman, same as Bill Veach, same as Rexanne, same as Anita Sarah, same as we're all just council members. In our charter, we're not strong mayors. We are the ceremonial head of the town of Fort Myers Beach this year. Okay, and in that duty, in that role, I act as the ceremonial head of the town, and I sign checks and sign ordinances and sign resolutions and any other paper that the town needs signed. But any other delegation or division of duties is done by the council as a whole. We do that in open meetings. We do that in the sunshine, as is required in the state of Florida.
Testing. Okay, so I believe one of the reasons why I think Ray is correct on that issue is that it's a delegation. It's a delegation of 5. And I don't think if we're going to change the way the town manages the town manager and we're going to make it a mayor elected position, then you would have all that weight on the mayor's shoulders. But it's currently not that way. And it is in the way that everyone has a voice. However, I am going to say this. I think that we need to make sure that we are managing the one person that we are able to as councilmen, and that's the town manager. I think we need to make sure that we're evaluating that process and we're working with them on a diligent basis. I think we need to make sure that it is evaluated properly, but we also need to make sure that he has something to mark to be evaluated too. So we need to hold him to a certain standard, but we need to create those standards first. So I think that's going to be a collective of the new town going forward.
You know, I think that when people being the town council elect a mayor, there is a assumption that goes with that that's a leadership role. It's just like a CEO of a corporation. A CEO has many direct reports and VPs but they set the tone. They set the tone of leadership. They set the tone of what we're going to accomplish. Everyone does it because we're all in a servant role to our public, but there is a tone that is set with leadership. And if that tone is not there, then people run amok. People go do their own things. People try to find different ways to do it. There's no cohesiveness. So when you look at a mayor position, it's because people put you in that spot to be a leader. It's an expectation.
Thanks, Karen. I agree with you on that as well. And I think leadership, and I'll add communication, things that I don't see this town council doing very well. I think that's why Dan Allers has gone out on his own and started working with the county about this lighting issue, getting answers and moving us forward in that way because of the adversarial relationship that members of this council have with Lee County, the history they have. They just want to be adversarial instead of working together. Dan's done it. Jim, thank you for reaching out to the county as well. It goes back to leadership and communication and sharing. You sit on that council, an issue comes up, you say, okay, how are we going to do this? Who wants to work on this issue? Let's move forward and let's get it done.
All right, next question. We'll start with Patrick. How would the public benefit by walking behind two private residents to walk over a football-length bridge over a lagoon to get to the Gulf? That's several better public access points in the area, including a condo that opened up there and access that's much easier to access and a quicker walk to the Gulf. I hope that makes sense.
Well, okay, so I just need to make this pretty clear. When I first decided to run, I got my information from a couple of places because the town meetings are a different time and I have to watch it from YouTube. And so as a spectator, another place to get it is Beach Talk Radio. And a bunch of the things that you get and you understand the information is that I thought I was under the interpretation that there was a quid pro quo where Roger had made a mention about do you get this for that. If you put in a walking way that's for the public, we'll let you get it. And if you didn't, and based on that alone, I made that theory to say to myself at the time, and I said, I don't know the information. I don't have that information. As a citizen, I don't know that. And the comment back would be, well, you're running for council. You should know that. I said, give me time. Let me do this. So here's what I did. In the last couple of months that I've been doing this, I've been around. I've talked to Eddie. I've talked to everybody. I've talked to, had a meeting with Brad. And I just want you to know that my current position is that I don't agree with the bridge walkover, the dune walkover. And I wouldn't vote for it. I'd let it go through the courts, and I'd let the nature preserve itself.
That was a really long question. Are you in favor of the beach walkover or not? I, too, have gone back and done a lot of research on this. And I think if you take the emotion out of it, I went back and I looked at the LPA meeting from 2019, where this was voted on 7-0 for the beach walkover. It's gotten a lot of emotion built in it. It's gotten a lot of different stories behind it. But I think if you still go back to, what is the value of it? Where does it not meet the criteria? And if people can show me where it doesn't meet the criteria, I think I could possibly look at it again. But beyond that, there's got to be some kind of common ground on this. I know that there's been all kinds of issues where we'll go this way or we'll go this way, but we've got to meet in the middle somewhere.
Every time this issue comes up, nobody's changed my mind on 2 points. The state approved it, and the town wanted to settle if he'd open up for everybody to have access to it. Nobody's changed that entire time. I met with Mr. Rood. I'm not taking any money from Mr. Rood or Mr. Kramer, but I see a broken man there. He's been in the construction business. This man won't be walking around very soon. I mean, there are operations he's going through on a regular basis. The man is going to be handicapped in a wheelchair. So that's what he wants, is access to his property. And I don't have a problem with that.
The question was, what public benefit would be derived by building this thing? That was the question. The answer is, and this is not my answer, I'm just relaying this on, by an administrative law judge, the Florida Wildlife and Conservation Committee, and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection all said that it would be a public benefit to keep people out of the protected area. That's not me, that's the state agencies who said that as the public benefit.
All right, just for transparency, again, we are reading these just as they were submitted. We're going to begin now with the yes and no questions. These are a simple yes or no answer, and we'll just keep it moving. We'll start with Patrick. Do you believe that residents should elect the mayor, not council members? Do you believe residents should elect the mayor, not council members?
Yes or no, right?
Yes.
I'm going to stay with no.
Yes.
I'll go with yes as well.
Yes.
This is where we're really moving. Okay. Will you support a rollback rate to keep our taxes the same instead of increasing our taxes through property values, increasing in the trim rate? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
They'll have no opportunity to do that. No.
Next question. John.
I'm going to say,
sorry, my
I'm going
bad.
to say no.
No. Okay. Next question now, starting with John. Do you believe the town manager and lawyer are doing their best for the town?
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
Ray, the only place to see reddish egrets and Rosetta spoonbills on Fort Myers Beach is in or near the CWA. If all walkovers were allowed, that could change. Do you think a building walkover is worth the risk of disturbing or losing these birds?
Yes or no? No.
No. Wait. Let me just, can you say the question just because I got to put it?
Yeah, do you think it's worth risking losing these birds if we put a walkover in?
I don't want to lose the birds. No walkover.
That's not an easy yes or no question. Yeah, no, I don't want to lose the birds. Yes, I'm for the walkover. To protect the birds.
The way the question's framed, no.
All right, next question. Being that it is so important for newly elected counselors to gain experience in growing their roles, isn't it vital that they be given responsibilities regarding important council initiatives? We are starting with Ray.
With me.
I'm sorry, Patrick.
I'd say okay with that. Yes.
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 Wholeheartedly, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Starting with Karen. Will any of the candidates go through the town of Fort Myers Beach records to get answers to the questions? And
I can honestly say, no, I haven't.
will you go through any town records to get answers?
Already have, so yes.
No.
No.
Okay, bear with me, here's a long one. Okay, Kurt and Eddie want to build their dune walkover bridge on their private property. The 20th Judicial Circuit Court of Lee County judgment was filed June 6, stating that Eddie and Kurt do not own the land. The state owns this land, and the state litigation outcome is to dismiss the case and reject the quiet title complaint from the property owners due to they have no genuine dispute as to any material fact and that their suit has no merit. Would you approve it if it came up for a vote again? And we will begin with John.
That was very convoluted and confusing, but I will say yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Next question, beginning with Ray. Was it proper for the mayor at a town council meeting to complain about the larger-than-life portrait of Sheriff Marcino on the trailer?
Yes.
I'm taking the fifth. It's not me. I'm not answering that question.
Okay.
No.
It's Ray. It's Ray did it. It's his decision.
No.
The next question will begin with Patrick. Do you believe we have a homeless problem here on Fort Myers Beach?
Hell yeah. Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm in church. Yes.
Absolutely yes.
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 Next question. Do you believe that the Beach Talk Radio listeners are dredges? Are they?
No.
No.
Yes or no? Can't say some, huh? No.
No.
Okay, next question. Should we charge the sheriff to have an outreach office on Fort Myers Beach? John.
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
All right, we are now going to the 3-minute questions. We'll slow the pace down just a tad. All right, we've got a letter here. So at 2:20 into the 9:18 council meeting, the town manager gave the council his philosophy on how fees should be developed. He believes that the town has value, which the council must quantify. He questioned if the town should be last in line after the vendors, property owners, and farmer markets make their money, because in his view, the town is actually what brings the value. My question for the candidates is for them to state unequivocally if they agree or disagree with the town manager's philosophy that fees should be based on the town's value and the town should get its cut of the revenue as he suggested, or if the town exists to simply serve the community and has an obligation to provide necessary services as efficiently as possible at the lowest cost to the community. Then just finally, it says the question speaks to how candidates see the fundamental purpose and role of government, and this person would like to see and understand your view on the topic. And I think we're beginning with Ray.
I do think we have the town council has a fiduciary responsibility with the taxpayers of Fort Myers Beach. We're the guardians of the funds. If fees are going up and costs are going up and everything else is going up, why shouldn't the town, whose fees haven't gone up in years and years, be adjusted somewhat? Now, I'm not saying they should be adjusted 1,000% or 500%, whatever the numbers are. But yes, the town. I wouldn't expect the town taxpayers to expect anything less of us than to keep an eye on the fees.
Being at that meeting, I actually wrote it down. I was looking for my notes, and I put quotes on it when Roger made that statement. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it said, "We are FMB. You know, we are Fort Myers Beach, and we have value, and we have to hold that value, and then everyone should pay because of that." I don't agree. I think that sounds kind of egotistical, that he takes that on for himself and not for us, the taxpayers. And then again, I asked the question, okay, well, if we're looking at the fees increase, and we talk about if we are going to raise taxes just because we think our value has grown, because certain things have happened, I don't think that's a financially sound decision that we should base our future on. And I think that when you look at the taxpayers, myself and everyone else, we value the beach that we moved into, but the value has increased in cost. And those people currently, that most of them that own their house for the last 15, 20 years, couldn't afford to buy the one they're living in today. So I don't think that, I mean, if we're going to change the future of this town, and we look at the way Roger has painted it, I think we're using the word fees unequivocally to say any time you charge a taxpayer money, or a resident money, I don't care if it's a parking fee or anything, it's taxation. And I don't agree with taxation. I don't agree with it that way. I think it's planned. It has to be planned. But at the end of the day, me personally, I took offense to it because I thought, that's just not how we should run our town government finance. And I don't run my finances that way. And I don't have my value in that set. I'll be honest with you, though, I have a different perspective on it. 5 years ago, before I moved down here, 3 months before I moved down here, I suffered a heart attack. I had a 100% blockage in my LAD, and I just lost both my parents 2 years before that. And one of the things that I realized is that I was blessed. And the one thing that I realized also is that money isn't going with you when you're gone. So I make sacrifices to this day to be able to give back to the community, working as a teacher. I make sacrifices to live on this island because I believe in this island. And I don't want to be taxed out of this island. And unfortunately, I'm afraid that's going to happen. So I need to secure that, right? Because eventually, if the taxes keep going up and the fees keep going up, I can't afford to live here. And that's the reality. You can put that as you want with workforce development. Let's take care of the ones that are working here. So anyway, thank you.
You know, I look at what Roger said in that meeting, and I think it's fundamentally wrong. The town is not a corporation. We do not have a market value attached to the town. The town is made up of people and businesses and residents, schools. That's what brings value to this town. When we talk about fees, you know, I don't have a problem raising fees if I can see what the fees are going for. But just to randomly raise fees to astronomical amounts like we have seen and have no formula, no background for it, no reasoning for it, that is the part that bothers me. I mean, if there was reality based on this, if you could say, well, our cost did this, and like we did with Bay Oaks, you know, those fees came to us and we were like sticker shock. None of us knew this was coming. So we went through it the first time, and I was the one that was supposed to be presenting it to the town council. And in my gut, I could not do it. So I actually called another meeting of board cab and went through it and just said, we have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb. We have families out there that use these after-school programs. It's important that we keep these in place. We have people that want to use our facilities. You know, we went back and we checked the usage rate of Bay Oaks, and it's almost 15,000 people in the summer months that, or not just in the summer months, I'm sorry, in a year, is actually 15,000 for Bay Oaks and another 13,000 for the pool. This building and this whole area is utilized. But to say that we're going to raise the fees, you know, 1,200% just because we haven't done it in the last 11 years, that's not right. So we went back and we looked at every one of them. You know, we raised some of the fees, other ones we kept smaller. We kept it much smaller with for parents and after school programs and that type of thing. But I think if we start looking at our government as a value, we're in the wrong space.
This government doesn't operate or exist without you, the taxpayer, and they need to know that and remember that. It's time for government to work for you. You're not here to work for the government. I want to be on this council to remove roadblocks, facilitate business success. This is a dynamic community, but people aren't getting listened to and being taken advantage of, it feels like. That's one of the reasons, one of my first things I'll try to do is move on to a new town manager. That attitude needs to go. We're told fees haven't gone up in 11 years. Whose fault is that? The people on the town council and the town manager. He's been there. Make them smaller incremental fees if you need them. But you've told me at the last meeting in September, or I'm sorry, 3 months ago, that you had enough money to continue providing the same services if we kept the same millage rate. Plus you have $2.1 million over here you can use. Use it for you.
All right, next question. We'll begin with Ray. United States federal agencies, including NOAA, NASA, the Department of Defense, recently published a report on climate change, specifically pertinent for us here on the Barrier Island, how climate change will affect Florida's coastal communities. The report stated that by 2050, Florida's Gulf Coast sea level rise will rise by 14 to 18 inches. Sarasota and Pinellas counties have plans in place to mitigate climate change. What is your vision for mitigating climate change, and how would you work to ensure environmental sustainability?
You know, that's a very good question. I've had people from Sanibel and Captiva call me over here and call other members and ask us the same question. The short answer is that we're working with Florida Gulf Coast University. There's a professor over there. He's a PhD, and I can't think of his name right now, but he's got a program that's called Resiliency. And that program, along with the county, we're addressing the issues of climate change and sea level rise in particular. So that is being addressed, and but I would recommend that anybody who lives out on the beach and talk to your kids and grandkids and see what your long-term plans are, just in case. But it is being discussed, and you can go online to FGCU and type in the word resiliency, and you'll get all the information you want to see about the climate change and sea level rise.
Climate change and what will we do? I think I have to say this honestly, is that I don't know the answer to that question. Based on the way the question states, I don't know the effects of the long-term studies. I haven't looked into it. I'm an educated man, and I educate myself. I mean, that's just what I need to do. And if I need to educate myself on that, I need to go to the experts. But I also know that we need to work with the state and county, and also with other organizations that have done the research and that have done that. Again, we need to look at those experts, and we need to make sure that we utilize those experts. It's the same thing I did when I was making the choice on the dune walkover. I went out and I did the work, and I learned about it. That's what I've done all my life, right? I mean, I've had to come back from there and keep teaching myself. And I learn something new every day, but I learned that from people. So I have to go back and I have to look at the climate change situations, and I have to think, okay, but I have my personal opinions and my personal beliefs about climate change. And you know what? It is scary. And it is real, because the reality of it is if we don't do something about it today, 50, 100, 200 years from now, when we give this island to our future selves, we want to give them the same island that we came here for and that we're perpetuating today. So whatever we have to do to make sure that we perpetuate that for the future, and I'm not talking 20 years from now, I'm talking hundreds of years from now. So I'm all for educating myself, and when you get on the council, I promise you that I will make sure that I do my diligence and get all the education on it and learn about it, get to the experts and find out. I'll work and talk to the FGCU, I'll work and talk with the county, and I'll make sure that I work with my fellow staff members up on the town council to make sure that we all vigilantly have that in the back of our minds going forward.
So I can't honestly tell you that I have an answer for that either. And I don't think it's a sole topic for our town council, but I do think it is where all of our partnerships with Lee County, with education facilities, with the people who are the experts and doing the research to all come together. I think that is critical. You know, we just talked about earlier, water is our most important attribute here. Our environment is our most important attribute. And without looking at all the different dimensions that can affect us long term, I mean, we'd be silly not to do that. But to do it as a council, I don't think works. To do it as a partner within the state and the county governments absolutely would work. Research is key. I don't have an answer for that tonight, but it's actually a very intriguing question and should be researched for sure.
Like Patrick, like Karen, I don't have all the answers. I'm just a taxpayer and a condo owner who wants to do the right thing. I think the town is doing the right thing with the beach renourishment. I mentioned that earlier. Put that bigger buffer between us and the Gulf. That's going to help. But I tell you, this is one of the areas where I'm very skeptical. We have a tendency to think we're smarter than everybody and we can fix this planet. I'm not sure we can. Things will come and go as they do, just like we see on this barrier island every day. If we get too involved in one area, does that throw something else out of whack as well? I'll tell you what, it was the UN that told us we'd all be underwater by this year. That was 22 years ago they told us that. So I noticed the people that all have concerns about climate change and the rising seas have all bought coastal front properties. I see Joe Biden has a beachfront home. I see Barack Obama has one in Martha's Vineyard and in Hawaii. So I guess I'm not too concerned yet. Thanks.
All right, the next question, we'll start with Ray. The current administration seems to have issues with common business and administrative decisions. How would you improve the management and prioritization of funds versus projects?
I'm sorry, Dave, can you repeat the beginning of that?
Yeah, so the current administration seems to have some issues with common business administrative decisions. How would you improve the management and prioritization of funds versus projects?
I don't understand the question. Jackie, you know what you're talking about there?
Yeah, I mean, the current administration seems to have some problems and issues. How would you improve the management?
Yeah. I'll take a stab at it. I really don't know what they're talking about with the question, but I presume that the communication between, when you say the administration, do you mean the town manager? Is that, you don't know? Okay. All right. Well, let's just say the town manager. All right. I would say the best way to do that is through better communication. So maybe the town manager or the town council or something has meetings with the different business people if they want to come in. If there's an issue, we can have get-togethers in town hall or what have you. Of course, if we do it as a council, then they have to be advertised and so forth. But I would say better communication, maybe a little bit more get-togethers with the management and the staff, with the business owners if there are issues that come up.
I agree too. Question's kind of convoluted. I wrote down one thing is how to improve the management of the town. First things first, I need to say that the town council needs to manage the town manager, and as we would suggest that that's what we think is happening. But over the COVID, we found out though that the town also had given away some of their rights and some of their powers to the town manager, where the town manager had the capability of managing the town by himself. And I think that's not the right way to go. Everywhere I've gone in management, you have to have a reign of the entire ship. You can't just let people do what they want sometimes. And I think that it's the responsibility of the town council to manage and hold the manager accountable. How would you do that? Well, it's simple. Been in restaurant business a long time. McDonald's is probably one of the best restaurants out there when it comes to formulating plans. You can't just fire somebody without giving them the opportunity to know what it is that they need to be managed to. And I'll be honest with you, when I first came here, I've had a lot of run-ins with Roger. I've been threatened personally to be removed from the town footsteps of the town. I went to pay a $25 bill for the water bill, and during COVID, and I was told that I'm not allowed in to pay the bill. People kept going through the side door, however, I'm like, just take my check. No, can't do it online. So someone came up and physically threatened me, got in my face, and said, we're going to have you arrested if you don't leave this property. And I went back, and I took a step back because I felt threatened. Then he came another step back at me, and that person still works for our town. When I asked the question about the human resources and how that worked out, so that's when I started questioning. That's when I started questioning the town manager, because I thought, well, wait a minute, the schools are open. I go to school every day, and there's kids in masks. We can go into that building. That's a government facility. How come I can't pay a $25 bill? And then you're going to threaten me for it. So I do a loop, but I go back. So we need to manage the town manager. We need to make sure that we hold them to specifics. But also we have to make sure that we're looking for somebody else. And the next town manager that we're going to have is going to have higher standards. And the next town manager we have is going to have to communicate more with the town council, the new town council, and work with the town council on a better environment. And I think that's not going to happen today with what we have. However, we will have to evaluate the town manager currently, and then when it comes time to take his contract, at that time, we'll make that decision. But currently, I think that we need to look forward at managing the town council and managing the manager as a whole, as a collective, but we have to do that as a group.
I personally think that the town manager has done a total disservice to this town. He is not truthful in many ways. He's certainly not transparent. I have talked to many business owners. They're ready to pull their hair out. Nothing is ever straightforward. Nothing is ever addressed. You send emails, you send messages, you get nothing in return. So there needs to be a change. No ifs, ands, or buts. How we go about that change is key. Because I too don't know how he has been managed. I have no idea. But however he's been managed is not working. He has his own agenda, I believe. I believe that he has created a negativity in the town council offices, that when you go in there for permits or any kind of remodeling, I mean, that should be the first thing on our island. How do people want to improve their homes. They want to improve their businesses. And yet it takes 5-6 months to get a permit. And oh, by the way, then that permit changed. Oh, and that permit changed, and that permit changed. You know, performance management, that's my entire background. What are the values? What are the standards that we have held Roger to? I don't know. You know, where is the leadership that has held him accountable for those things? I don't know. I don't think there is a question as to should we actually renew his contract? I don't think that's even a question. But the question is, how do we actually go about with the new council of doing things the right way, with the right vision, getting the right person in here, and totally look at what do we want our culture to be in this town, and how are we going to go about getting it? The other thing, I think we're missing some spots. We need a director of finance. There should be oversight. One person backing up the next person. So when you don't have a director of finance and you have a town manager that is handling everything and nobody asks any questions or nobody gets a straight answer, I mean, what does that, where is the credibility there? Where is the trust there? So I think there needs to be change. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I think people coming on this council are actually coming on because they want to see change. We're tired of the status quo. We need to move forward and we need to build a better community.
I think I'm going to harp on it again. I want to make government work for you instead of you working for government. It seems like the town manager has all the power, all the information, and he keeps that control. I've talked to the small business owners because I grew up, as I told you, in a small business. Those folks are dear to my heart. They're the risk takers. And I want them to succeed because when they succeed, we all succeed. We just need to do a better job of sharing information, communicating, and making it, you know, I talked earlier about the adversarial relationship between the town and the county. There's an adversarial relationship between the town, the businesses, and the taxpayers. It's time to end that.
All right, we're at our 15-minute mark, and we're going to go now with 1-minute responses. We're going to begin with Patrick. How many people, companies, businesses do you personally know, or who have you spoken with, who have had serious issues at Town Hall with permitting, inspections, fines, and town staff?
Only a minute, right? Come on, give me the 3-minute one. I really want this one. Jim Adderall's right over there, and I had a conversation with him a couple years ago, and I asked him, I says, because I've worked with people, I do handyman services, and I work with people and I talk to them. Being a vigilant member of the community, you know, I hear it all the time, and there's a lot. I can't count, unfortunately, too many to count, right? And we don't have a check on that. But go back to what I said to Jim, was I said, how come we can't take a survey and survey everyone in this town in an unbiased way, where we don't get the information. We pay someone to come in and we get that. Find out that rule. And let's find out, because that's an answer we all need to know. I mean, because let's be honest, every one of you have had an issue, and every one of you has something that there is, but how come we don't get to hear about it? So I say we get to hear about it. I say we put together a survey. Let's ask the people, because guess what? We want to know that number. And I want to know that number, especially when I'm holding Roger accountable for that.
I can't even tell you how many businesses and people I've talked to, but I will say that 99.9% of the people that I've talked to have an issue with the town manager, with the town staff, how it's being run. But what's even more concerning about the whole thing is it's a feeling of defeat. People are like, why even bother? Why say something? Because it goes nowhere. And on top of it, you might, have things turn around in the negative way towards you. So, I mean, we have to change that view of town hall. I mean, when people don't even want to come forward because they've taken a defeatist attitude or because they've been put down so many times, I mean, that is fundamentally wrong.
I've talked to a lot of business owners in this community from Times Square on down, and the communication issue is the big problem. They don't feel like they're being listened to. The folks in Times Square continue to pay their money for their little stands and beach chair, but they would like to have a touch of paint on there. They feel like they're being ignored. Sure, the big Times Square remodel is coming, but what are you doing in the meantime? They're still hurting out there. They would still like maybe a new umbrella, a coat of paint, something like that. What I should have mentioned earlier also is when you feel like the town is your enemy, it shouldn't be that way. We have employees that when they walk in, I will give them credit there, they walk in, they greet you, but let's cross-train people to get rid of some of these backup issues. We can do that. It's not that hard. I've been in other companies that have done it.
I get calls all the time from business people that are having problems. And every one of them, I try to intercede on their behalf and help them. I'll give you an example. Last week, the owners of Wahoo Willie's, they're trying to open up. They're open now. They called me and they said, we're having a problem with our permits and we need a temporary certificate of occupancy before we can get our sign-offs from the fire department, this one and that one. So I said, well, let's see what we can do and get one. So I spoke to the manager and spoke to some staff about it. They expedited it. They got him open. Now he's in the process of getting all of his other sign-offs. That's what I do. When people call me with a problem, I try to intercede on their behalf. I try to help. I'm good at that. You might recall I did that one time for Margaritaville. I got them to drop. I got the Lonnie Kai and the other people to drop the lawsuit. Today, that lawsuit might still be going on had it not been for my intercession on that. Thank you.
Remember, I am reading the questions that were submitted. Karen. Yeah. And I'm not used to that, actually. Karen, what does Key West do to encourage off-season events? They have many successful off-season events. Are you willing to learn from others?
Well, I think I've said over and over again that I don't have all the answers. I believe in partnerships. I have already talked about so many times of we need to support our businesses in the off season. We had a blip in reality during COVID and we had so many people here and we kind of got used to it. But now we're back at our normal seasonal, no one's here. So I think there's a lot of things we can do. I think we need to look at parking. I think we need to encourage events. I think we need to look at these event fees and, across the board, but I also believe in partnership. And I think we could take some good lessons from our friends in Key West, from our friends in Lee County. Just look at even downtown Fort Myers. They have the music walk every third Friday. They have the art walk every first Friday. I mean, there's things going on all the time that we could also be take a lead from?
I honestly have no idea what Key West is doing, but if they're doing something where we're not, and it's a good idea, then let's do it. It's not that hard. There's a lot of good ideas in this state. There's a lot of good ideas across this country, but it just seems like if it's not from Sanibel or here, then we don't want to hear about it. I took a great idea from Dan Allers and Ron Fleming. Got a bike and put my signs on it, and I'm pedaling up and down this island, letting you know who I am, and I'm out there. So a good idea is going to be a good idea no matter where it came from, and I'll always be glad to give you credit if it's your idea.
Of course, I'm always open to new ideas. You know, I mean, anything we can bring down here in the off season. I mean, I've been here long enough where I remember the days when businesses closed here after the end of the season, when they shut up and better you're nodding your head, you know. They closed in June and then opened up again in December or January. So anything that we can bring more business here in the off season is fantastic, and I'm open to any suggestions along those lines. Now, as far as what we've done, my friend Anita is in the back. Anita Saracita. When we first became a town, we were the ones who closed off Times Square, created that district down there. We were the ones who gave the incentives for the businesses on Old San Carlos to improve that area. We made those. We knew, we had a vision. We knew what was going to happen with that area, and today it's thriving. It's thriving because of that vision. So anything that we can do to help in those situations, we're more than happy to. Thank you.
I gotta say this. I mean, I used to be in, obviously, promotions. I promote myself, making some really nice signs. I just don't know why we don't have it now. Why are we even asking that question? Jackie's the only one that's promoting this town, and in all the business. I'd sit outside of the Cigar Hut. I've been down here 5 years, and I love it when the offshore now just comes down. Songwriter Fest, are you kidding me? I love that. That's amazing, right? There's things that we can do. It's unfortunate we even lost the taste of the beach to another island. We didn't have that this year. Because are we being good stewards to our, not just our business, but our town? Let's go back to making sure that the downtown area and the side street on Old San Carlos is used, especially during the summertime, to help us motivate this. And we can also help with the Margaritaville. But take away the parking fees in the summertime and make sure that we're also getting people down here, not just us. We need to hire somebody, but that's their job.
All right, we're now at the closing, and this is where each person gets 1 minute to wrap up and say whatever it is they would like to say. John.
Well, I will say thank you to the chamber, Jackie. Thanks, Dave, for being here. Thanks, Beach Talk Radio, for being here, and for the folks that can't be here. Thanks, Ray, for being here, Patrick, Karen. I'm running for town council because I think we can do better. Actually, I know we can do better for our town, for our taxpayers, for our businesses, and for our visitors. We deserve better. Better, more concerned, more collaborative, and engaged leadership. A better plan for the future of our island home. Better safety measures. We all deserve to be listened to and communicated with all the time, with plenty of notice about important issues. What a concept. If leadership, communication, collaboration, and common sense are important to you, I'd humbly appreciate your support on November 8th. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for being here tonight. These are dreadful to sit through. So I'm glad you're all here. But make sure you get one of these that has my little bio on it. You can read all that propaganda on there. I want to show you this here. This is what I sent out 4 years ago. This was my mailer. Murphy, stuff on the back. Yep. These were my goals that I listed on here 4 years ago. I just want to read a couple of them to you. Clean water. I will make it my first priority to work with our local, state, and federal governments to improve water. I did that. Estero Boulevard Water Project. We'll work to get this project done. I did that. TPI development. I will work for a positive resolution to this litigation and expedite these long overdue improvements to our town's entryway. I did that. Short-term rentals, I will re-examine the ordinance and fees in order to bring about an equitable agreement. We are doing that. Respect and dignity, I will bring to town council staff, visitors, and citizens at our town and elected that is professional and trusted. If given the chance again, I will continue these projects. I will finish all the other projects that we have done, and I look forward to it. And I kindly ask for your vote on November the 8th. Thank you very much.
I only get a minute, so I'm gonna talk as fast as I can, but I want to try to make sure it's heartfelt. And I don't think a minute's enough. I think you need more time. Give me 4 hours. Right, Ms. Vaughn? I gotta say this. Go to Romco, my last name, romco.com. It's that simple. Get my information, get my number, call me, reach out. Let me come and meet you. I'm here every day on the island after school. But I want you to know this as I'm closing out today. All my life, I've had to work hard for everything that I've ever gotten. But the one thing that my mom instilled in me was that I had to give back every time, is to help somebody back and raise it back. I've done that all my life because someone did it for me. And I'm here today. I give back to the school. I give back to the community. I've changed the lives of scouts by the thousands just by me being able to just give them time, right? I'll tell you what, too, is I just want you to know that I teach for that same reason. I'm going to do the same thing for this town. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to use those standards and those qualities on this town council to make sure when I make an event or I have something said or something needs to be done, that's what I'm going to use as a standard.
I too want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. You know, I think history is great. I think history is what makes us and forms us, but I think change is inevitable.
Transparency and honesty is key for this community, for any community. But we have so many things in the hopper right now going on that need to be addressed. And the only way we do that is not by looking in the past, but by moving forward. And that's what I bring to you. I bring change. My slogan is right time, right choice. It is time that we look at all of these different things that have been happening in our community. Quit asking why, quit shrugging our shoulders, but say, let's make a change and let's move forward. And I thank everyone. I hope, I don't hope, I respectfully ask for your vote on November 8th, and I hope you'll do it. Thank you.
So before my speech, you definitely have some choices to make in this election, and just a big round of applause for all of the candidates. On behalf of NBC2, I just want to thank you for having me here tonight. Jackie, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Folks, if you give me just 1 minute, I want to thank Beach Baptist again. I want to thank all of our council candidates. I want to thank our current town council for everything that they do for us and for being here tonight. Our fire commissioners that are here, Royal Pump, Realtor Association. The candidates will be sticking around after this. Thank you, Beach Talk Radio, for streaming that live, and for the staff with Beach Baptist for helping me out with timing. Thank you, Lori, for timing. And don't forget some more refreshments back here. We do have some beer, wine, soda, water, and Beach Baptist has their delicious coffee for sale, their tea towels, and their shirts. Thank you so much, and get out and vote!